If you like the story, you can support the author on Patreon. Link is in the description.
Chapter 1, Awakening the System. 48 years after the creation of Konoha. Never thought doing an internship in metalworking would lead to time traveling. Dan Soma, no, now he should be Uehara Soma, sat on a rocky shore, gazing at the endless sea before him. The sea breeze blew in his face, and his emotions were complex for a moment. He vividly remembered that not long ago, he was interning in metalworking, first machining parts, then welding. The result was a spark. The next moment, he found himself crossing into the world of Naruto, becoming a blacksmith on Forging Island in the Hidden Mist Village, responsible for researching the forging of ninjato. Not in Konoha where the protagonist resides, nor in the stable situations of the Hidden Rock Village and Hidden Cloud Village, but precisely in the Hidden Mist Village. Uehara Soma shook his head and sighed. The Hidden Mist Village could hardly be considered a good place. Externally, lacking in strength, perhaps on par with the Hidden Sand Village situated in barren desert lands. Internally, constant strife, the policies of the Bloody Mist, persecution of bloodline ninjas and clans, elders betraying village secrets, and even the esteemed Mizukage falling into the puppetry of others. It was simply a hellish beginning. And he was just a blacksmith with little combat prowess. To survive is a difficult task. Suddenly, a mechanical voice echoed in Uehara Soma's mind. Then, before Uehara Soma, a pale blue translucent screen appeared. Great Blacksmith System, binding in progress, congratulations on becoming a blacksmith. Mission 1, as a blacksmith, you must have your own forging site. Detecting host's location on Forging Island, automatically binding Forging Island as the host's forging site. Mission complete. Congratulations to the host for completing the mission. Rewards. 1. Forging skill bonus. When the host is on Forging Island, the forging technique will receive a significant bonus. 2. Shingu, Kirai Kimonji Blueprint X1. 3. Thug Recruitment Token X1. The text on the translucent screen changed. Name, Uehara Soma. Comprehensive Strength, Genin. Forging Technique, Good, Excellent. Forging Island Bonus, Dot. Mission Items, Kirai Kimonji Blueprint X1, Thug Recruitment Token X1. Blacksmith Reputation, 8. Evaluation, as a blacksmith, the foundation is decent. Due to having a personal forging site, the forging technique receives a bonus, with a chance to craft ninja tools of superior quality or above. As a ninja, the strength is worrying, in times of war, can only be considered cannon fodder. With a thought, Uehara Soma acted. Immediately, the Kirai Kimonji blueprint appeared in Uehara Soma's hand. Following that, a surge of information flooded into Uehara Soma's mind. Mission Blueprint. With this blueprint, one can enter dungeon instances to obtain materials. Upon completing the forging of mission ninja tools, depending on the quality of the crafted item, the host will receive corresponding rewards. Upon completing the contract between the mission ninja tool and its user, based on the compatibility between both parties and the user's talent, the host will receive corresponding rewards. Including but not limited to basic attributes, skills, items. The compatibility between mission ninja tools and their users must meet or exceed the standard line before the blacksmith can actively guide the contract. The degree of the contract depends on the approval of the Blueprint Mission Commissioner, with comprehensive consideration of the compatibility between the user and the ninja tool's attributes. Mission ninja tools can only undergo one contract. Mission blueprints can be obtained through reputation draws. Note, according to the first rule of blueprints, ordinary blueprints cannot bring back any mission rewards. Uehara Soma's eyes lit up. Crafting ninja tools could earn rewards, giving him the confidence to safely survive in this world. Then, Uehara Soma's gaze fell on the thug recruitment token. A token-like object, exuding an ancient atmosphere while also possessing a technological aspect, appeared in Uehara Soma's hand, resembling a creation of steampunk. A surge of information flooded into Uehara Soma's mind. As a noble blacksmith, how could one personally engage in such violence? Thug recruitment token. Through this recruitment token, one can establish a contractual relationship with a target individual. With mutual consent, the contract can be completed. When entering dungeon instances, the host can summon thugs to assist in combat using the thug recruitment token. Thug recruitment tokens can be obtained through reputation draws. Note, according to the sixth principle of thugs, they possess a subconscious confidentiality characteristic regarding their work content. Uehara Soma's eyes flickered. So, does this imply that obtaining materials is not easy? But if obtaining materials is difficult, it means the quality of the materials is better. The better the quality of the materials, the stronger the ninja tools crafted from them will be. If that's the case, the rewards I obtain surely won't be too shabby. With the thought, Uehara Soma made the mission blueprint and thug recruitment token in his hand disappear. Uehara Soma glanced at the other side of the screen. A lottery machine pattern slowly spun. Beside it were details about the lottery machine. 100 reputation points for one draw. There are 3 possible outcomes: mission blueprints, thug recruitment tokens, and random attribute points. Uehara Soma organized the situation. So, what I need to do is use this mission blueprint and thug recruitment token to enter dungeon instances, obtain materials, and craft ninja tools. By crafting ninja tools, I'll earn rewards and increase my reputation. Then, with reputation, I can participate in the lottery. I'll be able to obtain new mission blueprints and thug recruitment tokens again. Repeating in a cycle. At this moment, a figure approached from afar, entering Uehara Soma's line of sight. Clad in the attire of a mist ANBU ninja, appearing quite formidable with a square haircut and the hidden mist village headband adorning the forehead, their expression seemed fierce and savage. Like a shark in the midst of hunting. The exposed skin's color seemed somewhat out of place compared to that of an ordinary person. A name surfaced in Uehara Soma's mind. Hoshigaki Kisame. The relationship between the two was relatively good. Hoshigaki Kisame had an obsession with ninjato, ninja sword, since childhood, longing to possess one of his own. In fact, the majority of young ninjas in the Hidden Mist village shared this aspiration. The title of the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist represented strength, prestige, power, and status within the Hidden Mist village. They were elite ninjas directly under the Mizukage. Even those qualified to succeed the position of Mizukage. Hoshigaki Kisame, leveraging connections, approached Soma's sensei, hoping they could help him craft a ninjato. Uehara Soma's sensei agreed. After that, Hoshigaki Kisame often visited Forging Island. However, even until Soma's sensei passed away, they couldn't craft the ninjato. But Hoshigaki Kisame and Uehara Soma became good friends. Although Hoshigaki Kisame appeared fierce, in reality, he was a principled and relatively honest person. Kisame. Soma, there's some bad news. Hoshigaki Kisame's expression was serious. What happened? Just now, the village reached a significant trade agreement with the Land of Iron regarding ninja tools, including kunao, shuriken, senbon, ninjato, etc. The village elders are deliberating and have decided to abolish Forging Island. What? Immediately, Uehara Soma's expression turned ugly. He had just bound himself to Forging Island, and now the village elders wanted to abolish it. Wouldn't that mean losing the forging skill bonus he had just obtained? Chapter 2, Forging Island must survive. They say Forging Island hasn't produced a ninjato on the level of the Hidden Mist 7 ninja sword in decades, and there's probably no possibility of it happening in the future. And ordinary shinobi tools made in the Land of Iron aren't inferior to those made on Forging Island, and they're even cheaper. Therefore, there's no need for Forging Island to exist. Nor do we need blacksmiths anymore. It just so happens that the village is short-handed lately, so we can supplement the blacksmiths as mission ninjas. Some even say that even if we were to produce shinobi tools like the 7 ninja sword, it wouldn't matter. They say the so-called 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist, when faced with just a genin from Konoha, were utterly defeated, 4 killed on the spot, and the remaining 3 fled in disgrace. Even if we were to create shinobi tools comparable to the 7 ninja swords, it wouldn't matter. Hoshigaki Kisame said indignantly. These people are just talking nonsense. Uehara Soma's expression turned even uglier. Disbanding Forging Island not only means Uehara Soma loses the bonus to his forging skills, but the village also has to supplement the blacksmiths into mission ninjas, which is a disaster for Uehara Soma. As a blacksmith, besides basic ninjutsu, the focus is on learning forging techniques. They're not skilled in combat at all. In this situation, sending blacksmiths on missions is no different from sending them to their deaths given the danger and mortality rate of Hidden Mist village missions. Forging Island must not be disbanded. And blacksmiths must not become mission ninjas. Uehara Soma's eyes flickered with madness. The only way might be to forge Kiraikimonji before the village issues the order officially. If Forging Island has value, it won't be disbanded. If blacksmiths have value, they won't be assigned to missions. But with my current strength, it's probably difficult to successfully obtain materials by entering the dungeon instance. I need capable fighters. Uehara Soma looked at Hoshigaki Kisame. Hoshigaki Kisame's strength is good, even though he hasn't obtained Same Hata yet, even though he's still relatively young. However, possessing the chakra absorption technique and water release is already quite impressive. Moreover, Hoshigaki Kisame is Uehara Soma's only friend at present. That is, Hoshigaki Kisame is the only one Uehara Soma could possibly recruit. Kisame, you previously mentioned that your dream is to own a ninjato comparable to the 7 ninja swords, is that still true? Hoshigaki Kisame was taken aback by Uehara Soma's question. Now isn't the time to discuss his dreams, the current issue is the future of Forging Island and the blacksmiths. But Hoshigaki Kisame still nodded. Of course. No matter what the cost. Absolutely. Hoshigaki Kisame said, since I was young, my dream has been to own such a ninjato, to become a figure similar to the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist. Even if it means paying any price, I have no problem with it. Uehara Soma looked away, gazing at the sea. In fact, before my sensei passed away, he told me something. Uehara Soma decided to attribute the system's abilities to his deceased sensei. Since the person is already gone, there's no one to confirm it. Whatever Uehara Soma says, others have to believe. That's the advantage of the deceased. And the thug recruitment token guarantees confidentiality. The reason Forging Island can't produce ninjato comparable to the 7 ninja swords is twofold. Firstly, Forging Island's blacksmiths are lacking compared to Senpai in terms of technique. But more importantly, it's the issue of materials. Initially, my sensei's sensei obtained the materials from a place called the Forging Master Spiritual Land, which led to the completion of the Hidden Mist 7 ninja swords. However, entering this Forging Master Spiritual Land is a very difficult task. Firstly, one needs to comprehend the forging techniques to a certain extent. Secondly, a special physique is required. Similar to a Kekkei Genkai. Furthermore, it's extremely dangerous inside. Hoshigaki Kisame's eyes widened slightly as he processed the information Uehara Soma revealed. Uehara Soma continued. My sensei gave me a lot of help before he died. So now, in fact, many conditions have been met for me. I possess the special physique my sensei mentioned, and just a few days ago, I had an epiphany, meeting the requirements for forging techniques. But there's still one problem, and that is, my personal combat strength is insufficient. To enter the Forging Master Spiritual Land and obtain forging materials, one needs to engage in combat. But I'm not good at combat. Uehara Soma withdrew his gaze and looked at Hoshigaki Kisame. Kisame, I need your help. Hoshigaki Kisame snapped out of his thoughts. Soma, how can I help? Uehara Soma took out the thug recruitment token and handed it to Hoshigaki Kisame, saying, this is the contract for the Forging Master Spiritual Land. If you agree to this contract, I can summon you out in the Forging Master Spiritual Land. I need you, Kisame, to help me in combat. Uehara Soma didn't directly mention the thug recruitment token, but used a different approach. The effect is the same, but it feels different when people hear it. Directly saying thug or something similar is too disrespectful. As long as we successfully obtain the materials in the Forging Master Spiritual Land, I can forge a decent ninjato. Perhaps this could solve the crisis for Forging Island and the blacksmiths. If you happen to fancy the ninjato I forge, Kisame, then consider it your reward. How about that? Hoshigaki Kisame waved his hand. Whether there's a reward or not, there's no need for that, Soma. You're my friend, and helping you out is what friends do. There's no need to talk about rewards. It's just a fight, completely fine. As he spoke, a hint of excitement appeared on Hoshigaki Kisame's face. Soma, even if I wasn't helping you out, I'd still gladly participate in such a fight. I never thought there'd be a place like the Forging Master Spiritual Land. Soma, when do we take action? Hoshigaki Kisame didn't hesitate one bit, he agreed to the contract of the thug recruitment token. A glimmer flashed on the recruitment token. Then, the color of the recruitment token changed slightly. Uehara Soma looked at Hoshigaki Kisame, feeling somewhat touched. Considering the current situation, Hoshigaki Kisame definitely wasn't here just for the reward of the ninjato. Even Soma wasn't entirely certain he could forge a very good ninjato, so Hoshigaki Kisame couldn't be sure either. Therefore, Hoshigaki Kisame's straightforward agreement was entirely due to the friendship between the two. It was to help Uehara Soma, not for any ulterior motive. Are you ready, Kisame? Hoshigaki Kisame's eyebrows twitched slightly. I'm ready anytime. Uehara Soma took out the blueprint of Kirito, his mind made up. Alright, then let's do it now. Chapter 3, Mission, Akame's Regret. Dungeon instances opening. Opening successful. Transporting. Uehara Soma opened his eyes to find himself in a completely unfamiliar area. A small town. With typical border town style. Desolate yet with a faint glimmer of hope. Filled with a wild, untamed atmosphere. Summon the thug. Hoshigaki Kisame watched as Uehara Soma's figure suddenly disappeared, then felt a pull on his own body. Hoshigaki Kisame didn't resist. The next moment, Hoshigaki Kisame appeared next to Uehara Soma. Soma, is this the Forging Master spiritual land? Hoshigaki Kisame looked around curiously. Uehara Soma nodded. Yes. A figure approached them. A woman, long black hair, slightly slender figure, wearing a sharp combat outfit with a sword at her waist, her beautiful face and red eyes staring directly at Uehara Soma. A voice echoed in Uehara Soma's mind. Mission, Akame's Regret. Mission reward, Kirito materials. Do you accept the mission? The moment Hoshigaki Kisame saw Akame appear, he became alert. Because Hoshigaki Kisame could sense that Akame exuded a strong aura of having killed before. There were no shortage of people who had died by Akame's hands. Kisame, don't be nervous, she's not our enemy, she's our client. Our client. Hoshigaki Kisame's expression relaxed slightly. Even though he found it strange that the Forging Master spiritual land was different from what he had expected, Hoshigaki Kisame understood what the term client meant. For ninja missions, the client is the employer. In the world of ninja, there is a saying. For ninjas, nothing is more important than the mission, even their own lives. And the one who decides the mission is the client. Uehara Soma silently repeated in his mind. Accept. Immediately, Akame across from them reacted, like an activated NPC. A scene appeared before the two of them. A young girl, in her childhood, lived on the streets, surviving by begging and scavenging for a living, relying on each other with her younger sister. One day, the two were noticed by the Empire authorities, adopted, and trained as assassins. After going through extremely brutal selections, the two girls became elite-level assassins. However, the trials were not yet over. After they were separated, the girl was sent to a small town on the outskirts of the Empire to undergo further tests. Here, the girl met someone, an enthusiastic female shopkeeper. The two formed a good friendship. But suddenly, the girl received an order from the Empire to kill the female shopkeeper. According to the Empire's command, the female shopkeeper's identity was that of a spy from an enemy country. However, the girl didn't quite believe her friend could be a spy, so she approached the female shopkeeper to test her. After receiving a negative answer, the girl had no intention of attacking. But at that moment, the female shopkeeper suddenly attacked the girl. The girl was forced to fight back and killed the female shopkeeper. But it was much later that the girl learned the truth, that the female shopkeeper was not a spy at all. All of this was a trial arranged by the Empire organization. The female shopkeeper was coerced by the Empire into becoming a spy, using the lives of the female shopkeeper's family as leverage. The Empire's true purpose was to have the girl, after forming a friendship, kill the object of that friendship. Only then would the trial be considered passed. Only then would the girl become an eligible assassin for the Empire. As the scene ended, Akame's voice sounded. I want you to help me stop my past self, save Marcia, and let Marcia and her family live well. Uehara Soma nodded. Okay. Akame's figure disappeared. Uehara Soma looked at the small shop across from him, where there were two people inside, two women. One woman was older, slightly plump, dressed plainly but unable to hide the advantages of her figure, walking with a tremble that captivated the gaze. Across from them was the younger Akame. The two interacted like friends, laughing and talking. Suddenly, the female shopkeeper's expression changed, reluctant, showing signs of struggle on her face, but still took out a dagger from behind and rushed towards Akame, forcefully trying to appear fierce. Kisame. Understood. Hoshigaki Kisame, in the moment when Akame was preparing to counterattack. Water release, water mist jutsu. Quickly forming hand seals. In an instant, a large amount of water mist appeared, enveloping the entire nearby area, including the small shop. Akame's vision was disturbed. Even more so for the female shopkeeper. Uehara Soma's figure arrived beside the female shopkeeper. Don't be afraid, we're with the revolutionaries, we're here to rescue you. Uehara Soma fabricated an identity for himself to make it easier for the female shopkeeper to believe him. Afterwards, Uehara Soma lifted the female shopkeeper and rushed outside the small shop. Hoshigaki Kisame was engaged in combat with Akame. Uehara Soma carried the female shopkeeper out of the water mist before setting her down. While running towards the direction away from Akame with the female shopkeeper, he said, "With your current situation, you can't survive in the Empire anymore, you'll have to cross the border. Where are your family members?" "In the underground prison in the center of the town," the female shopkeeper replied. "All right, I'll first get you out of town, then bring your family here, wait for me." The female shopkeeper stared blankly at Uehara Soma's departing figure. Since the moment she was approached by the Empire organization, she had already prepared herself for death. The remaining time was just waiting for death to come. She never expected someone to come to her rescue. The revolutionaries. When Uehara Soma returned to the town, Hoshigaki Kisame had already freed himself from Akame. "I used water clone jutsu to lure her in another direction. Soma, what's next?" "We go to the center of the town and rescue that female shopkeeper's family. If anyone tries to stop us, kill them." "Got it." Indeed, there were guards in the underground prison at the center of the town. But these people's strength was nowhere near Akame's. After all, their job was just to guard ordinary people. Not to mention Hoshigaki Kisame. Even Uehara Soma, a genin not skilled in combat, surpassed them. "Enemy attack!" a young man exclaimed in horror, picking up a weapon to counterattack. But before he could do anything, the kunai thrown by Hoshigaki Kisame had already hit his throat. Crack! The door of the underground prison was opened. Uehara Soma's voice sounded. "Follow me, I'm with the revolutionaries, here to rescue you all." Chapter 4, They Will Regret It. Thank you all. After Uehara Soma and Hoshigaki Kisame safely escorted the female shopkeeper and her family to the safe zone, Akame's figure didn't appear again, but a voice sounded in Uehara Soma's ear. Shortly after. "Congratulations to the host for completing the mission. May I ask if you would like to leave the dungeon instance?" "Yes." The next moment. The figures of Uehara Soma and Hoshigaki Kisame both returned to Forging Island. A pile of materials appeared in front of Uehara Soma. Hoshigaki Kisame looked over. "Soma, are these the materials for crafting ninja tools?" Uehara Soma nodded. "Yes. With these, Soma, can you forge a ninjato of the 7 ninja swords grade? If all goes well, I should be able to." Uehara Soma said, "Kisame, I need your help with something. I plan to start forging ninja tools now, but the situation on Forging Island might be a bit chaotic. I need you to guard outside and make sure I'm not disturbed." Hoshigaki Kisame agreed. "No problem, leave it to me. Forging Island isn't very large, but it's not small either. Because inside these caves there is magma and steam, it has become an ideal place for forging. During the era when the Hidden Mist 7 ninja swords were crafted, this was the sacred ground of the Hidden Mist village. Countless Hidden Mist village ninja longed to obtain a ninjato here on Forging Island. But as time passed, no ninjato of the level of the Hidden Mist 7 ninja swords was born, coupled with the disastrous defeat suffered by the Hidden Mist Village 7 when facing Might Do. The influence of Forging Island on the Hidden Mist Village gradually declined. What Hoshigaki Kisame recounted from the village elders does indeed reflect the current thoughts of some people in the village. Now, the number of blacksmiths on Forging Island is actually not many. Including Uehara Soma, there are just over a dozen. After this incident, the number will probably decrease even more. Hoshigaki Kisame sat down at the entrance of the forging room and glanced back. Compared to Uehara Soma, Hoshigaki Kisame seemed even more excited. "I never expected the Hidden Mist 7 ninja swords to still hold such secrets. I never expected there to be a place like the Forging Master Spiritual Land. Not only does it require a high level of forging skill, but also a certain physique. No wonder for so many years, no new ninja tools comparable to the Hidden Mist 7 ninja swords have been crafted. But now, Soma meets all the requirements. The era of ninjato is about to return. Truly exciting. Hoshigaki Kisame couldn't help but imagine himself wielding a ninjato in battle against enemies in the future. As for whether Uehara Soma can successfully craft ninja tools this time, Hoshigaki Kisame is not worried. First, Hoshigaki Kisame trusts Uehara Soma. Since Uehara Soma says he can do it, he believes he can. Even if this attempt fails, Hoshigaki Kisame feels that since Uehara Soma has found the right path, with several more attempts, success is certain. As for the village elder's decision to ban Forging Island and make blacksmiths into task ninjas, Hoshigaki Kisame feels he can't influence the situation regarding Forging Island. But ensuring that Uehara Soma gets a relatively easy ninja job instead of being a task ninja is still possible, considering that the Hoshigaki family, to which he belongs, is also a ninja family, big or small. I hope Soma can help Hidden Mist Village rekindle the glory of ninjato. Nearby, there's movement. Some blacksmiths seem to be packing up, getting ready to leave Forging Island. Obviously, the village elder's decision has spread. These blacksmiths feel that rather than waiting for the village to arrange for them, it's better to prepare themselves in advance. That way, at least they'll have more choices. Hoshigaki Kisame shook his head. These people won't realize it now, but this will be the worst choice they've made. Once Uehara Soma truly crafts ninja tools of the Hidden Mist 7 ninja swords level, the status of blacksmiths in the Hidden Mist Village will undoubtedly be greatly elevated. The first to benefit will undoubtedly be Uehara Soma. But other blacksmiths can also bask in Uehara Soma's glory. However, it's hard to say if these blacksmiths who voluntarily left Forging Island can come back. And even if they can return, their status will definitely not be as high as those who stayed. However, Hoshigaki Kisame chose not to remind them. Firstly, they might not believe it. Secondly, since Uehara Soma has not yet completed crafting the ninja tools, Hoshigaki Kisame doesn't want to cause trouble for him. As these few blacksmiths leave, the surroundings quieted down. Hoshigaki Kisame sat at the entrance, his mind involuntarily recalling the scene from the Forging Master Spiritual Land earlier. The entire process was similar to ninja missions. However, in Akame's experience, Hoshigaki Kisame noticed a very clear sense of familiarity. It could be said that the Empire's training of assassins and the Hidden Mist Village's training of ninjas are actually quite similar. Both are very strict and demanding in their training. The former deliberately encourages assassins to make friends and then kill those friends. And the latter also involves former comrades killing each other. That's how Hoshigaki Kisame came to be. The same goes for Zabuza and others. Additionally, the selection process of Konoha's Anbu is also extremely similar. The self-destruction arranged by Danzo for Yakushi Kabuto and Yakushi Nono, as well as the self-destruction of Sai and Shin, are examples. What Hoshigaki Kisame is concerned about is another point. That is Akame's regret for killing her friend. To regret means that Akame believes she made a mistake initially. And what about myself? Hoshigaki Kisame recalled the faces of those competitors he killed before, faces of former comrades. Each one a familiar face. Even though many years have passed, Hoshigaki Kisame still remembers. He remembers the expressions they had when they died. For a long time, Hoshigaki Kisame never doubted the Bloody Mist policy of the Hidden Mist Village. Like others, he believed that it was precisely because of such strict policies that they could cultivate ninjas strong and excellent enough. Ninjas nurtured in this way are the foundation of the Hidden Mist Village, ensuring its status as a major ninja village and making its strength grow stronger. But now, seeing Akame's regret, a slight wavering appeared in Hoshigaki Kisame's heart. Uehara Soma entered the forging room and immediately locked the door behind him. Then he took out the blueprint and the materials obtained from the dungeon instance. In Akame's world, Kirito is just a Shingu. But compared to the 7 ninjato of the Hidden Mist Village, it's not inferior. Chapter 5, Forging begins, Kirito. Uehara Soma looked at the blueprint. At this moment, Kirito's blueprint no longer had the ability to allow Uehara Soma to enter the dungeon instance again. There's only one chance, indeed just one chance. Uehara Soma was grateful to have a friend like Hoshigaki Kisame. Otherwise, even facing the young Akame, Uehara Soma wouldn't have been confident in completing the mission. The current blueprint is simply a forging blueprint. But it details the various forging steps and material quantities. However, considering the complexity of the blueprint's content, even with such detailed annotations, not everyone can understand it. Uehara Soma finds it somewhat daunting to look at. Without any bonuses, Uehara Soma's forging technique still reaches a good level. He's among the best on Forging Island. Forging Island has declined significantly over the past few decades. Uehara Soma examined it carefully. There's only one set of materials, no chance for a retry upon failure. It must succeed. If it weren't for the bad news brought by Hoshigaki Kisame, there would still be room for error for Uehara Soma. But upon learning of the village elder's decision to ban Forging Island, Uehara Soma knows he cannot fail. Once Forging Island is banned, his forging jutsu bonus will disappear. In addition, he will be forced to become a mission ninja. Being a mission ninja for the Hidden Mist Village is no better than outright defection. However, defection is not a good choice without strength. This is absolutely not the result Uehara Soma wants to see. I cannot fail. It took Uehara Soma half a day to read and memorize the contents of the blueprint. But he didn't start forging right away. Instead, he closed his eyes and began to visualize in his mind. This is a process that all forgers go through. Without this talent, one is not qualified to be a forger. After several iterations of visualization, Uehara Soma opened his eyes. However, he still didn't start forging formally. Instead, he brought other materials to simulate forging. Because different materials have different characteristics, the results of forging will definitely differ. However, by adopting the same steps and methods, some reference can still be made. The sound of metal being hammered echoed. It wasn't until the end of the day that Uehara Soma emerged from the forging room. Soma, how's it going? It's been tested almost thoroughly. Uehara Soma said, once I've rested well, I can start the formal forging. Kisame, is there food? Yes. Seeing Uehara Soma spending so much time in the forging room without coming out, Hoshigaki Kisame went to prepare food without leaving, directly instructing a water clone to do so. This is the convenience of clone jutsu. Especially in areas without similar intelligence, it provides greater operational space. Previously, in the dungeon instance, Hoshigaki Kisame relied on this to divert the attention of the young Akame and the Empire personnel, successfully bringing the female shop owner and her family to a safe area. While eating, Uehara Soma asked, Kisame, how's the situation on Forging Island now? Official orders haven't come down yet, but many forgers have left. Only a few are left. Outsiders already consider Forging Island to be practically defunct. Hoshigaki Kisame said. But as long as you, Soma, are here, you can surely restore Forging Island's reputation to its former glory. The ones leaving now will surely regret it. Hoshigaki Kisame held the forgers leaving now in contempt. Uehara Soma entered the forging room again. He took the metal obtained from the dungeon instance. Melted it at high temperatures. This high temperature partly came from magma, and another part came from chakra. Namely, fire attribute chakra. In a sense, this is also a kind of ninjutsu, but it's not suitable for use in combat, so it hasn't been labeled as ninjutsu. It continuously consumes chakra to maintain a high temperature. Gradually, the metal softened. Uehara Soma picked up a hammer and placed the metal on the forging table. Ding! With a single strike of the hammer, the metal deformed. Through continuous hammering and forging, the toughness of the metal is enhanced. This is the foundation of a blacksmith. But it's not simple. It tests a blacksmith's skill greatly. On Forging Island, there are specialized methods for hammering, also known as techniques. By coordinating breathing, chakra, and rhythm, different hammering effects can be produced. The hammering technique Uehara Soma's sensei taught him is called lava forging. It greatly increases the metal's toughness. Ding! 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 After repeating this hundreds of times, Uehara Soma stopped. This is the limit of lava forging. Continuing to forge will not provide any additional improvement to the metal. Next, Uehara Soma begins shaping. He shapes the forged metal into the form of a long sword. This process is relatively simple. But what follows is the main event. Enchanting. This is what Uehara Soma calls it. In the world of Naruto, on Forging Island, such a term does not exist. But these two words are just right. In the dungeon instance, Uehara Soma obtained 3 types of materials. One is the base metal, and the other 2 are additional materials that enhance toughness and sharpness, and another type allows Kirito to possess special abilities. During the forging process, the first and second types of materials were used. But the third type of material is to be used after shaping is completed. A green crystal-like object is held by Uehara Soma. This is the key to Kirai Kimonji. Whether it succeeds or not depends on this moment. Without this green crystal, the ninjato crafted would only be slightly tougher and sharper than a regular ninjato. But it would still just be an ordinary ninjato. However, if the green crystal could be integrated, the crafted ninjato would be completely different. It would surely reach the level of the Hidden Mist 7 ninja swords. Uehara Soma closed his eyes, recalling the process he had previously visualized. Once, twice, thrice. Crack! With a crisp sound, Uehara Soma, opening his eyes, crushed the green crystal in his hand, and a light green liquid flowed out, landing on the sword embryo. Uehara Soma placed his hands on the sword embryo, gathering chakra in his palms. Under Uehara Soma's control, the green liquid slowly merged into the sword embryo. Little by little, it seeped in. The color of the sword embryo seemed to change gradually during this process. Time passed bit by bit. The process is very slow. And it demands precise control of Uehara Soma's chakra. Any mistake could lead to failure. At this time, a figure led a team and arrived at Forging Island. Hoshigaki Kisame's eyes flickered when he saw the arrivals. Chapter 6, First Rewards. Zabuza noticed Hoshigaki Kisame, clearly somewhat surprised. Kisame senpai. Both are excellent ninjas of the younger generation from the Hidden Mist village, aware of each other's presence. Hoshigaki Kisame is older. Therefore, Zabuza addresses Hoshigaki Kisame as senpai. Has Mizukichi-sama's order arrived? Hoshigaki Kisame inquired. But Zabuza didn't answer, instead asking in return, what is Kisame senpai doing here? Hoshigaki Kisame fell silent for a moment. You should go elsewhere first. There's someone forging here, and they shouldn't be disturbed. Forging. Zabuza narrowed his eyes slightly. Mizukichi-sama's order has come down. From now on, there's no more Forging Island in the Hidden Mist village, no more blacksmiths. So. Hoshigaki Kisame narrowed his eyes. Zabuza shrugged, saying, so, those inside should stop, leave Forging Island, and follow Mizukichi-sama's order to go to the Mizukichi's building and register as mission ninjas. Brat, are you sure? Hoshigaki Kisame stood up. A sense of killing intent emanated from Hoshigaki Kisame. The ninjas behind Zabuza instinctively took a few steps back. But Zabuza did not. There was even a hint of excitement in his eyes. Hoshigaki Kisame, do you know the consequences of defying Mizukichi-sama's orders? I have the right to cut you down on the spot here. Both are geniuses from the Hidden Mist village. Hoshigaki Kisame is a few years older than Zabuza. So in terms of reputation, Hoshigaki Kisame is now much stronger than Zabuza. But Zabuza is not convinced by Hoshigaki Kisame. Now, in Zabuza's view, it's an opportunity to prove himself. A legitimate battle with Hoshigaki Kisame. Such opportunities don't come often. Zabuza's hand reached for the hilt of his sword. Hoshigaki Kisame noticed Zabuza's movement, his gaze becoming sharper. Then let's see if you have what it takes. Just at that moment. Crack! The door to the forging room opened from inside. Kisame, it's done. Uehara Soma walked out from inside, slightly taken aback when he saw the situation outside. The atmosphere was very tense. Hoshigaki Kisame was confronting a young ninja, and behind the young ninja, several others stood somewhat awkwardly, unsure whether to help Zabuza or to stop the two. Until Uehara Soma emerged. Upon hearing Uehara Soma's voice, Hoshigaki Kisame's face lit up suddenly. Great, Soma, I knew you could do it. Zabuza frowned, looking at the ninjato in Uehara Soma's hand. In terms of ninjato, Zabuza is actually similar to Hoshigaki Kisame. Both aspire to have their own ninjato and to become one of the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist. When Zabuza looked at the ninjato in Uehara Soma's hand, he immediately sensed that it seemed different from a regular ninjato. Thinking back to Hoshigaki Kisame's previous words, a guess arose in Zabuza's mind. The next moment, as Zabuza looked at the ninjato in Uehara Soma's hand, a burning determination flickered in his eyes. Uehara Soma glanced at Zabuza. Kisame, what's this about? Mamakai Zabuza, under Mizukichi-sama's orders, has come to execute the command of Forging Island, to abolish Forging Island, and to bring all remaining blacksmiths to the Mizukichi's building. Hoshigaki Kisame grinned. But now, Forging Island definitely can't be abolished. Soma, let's go to the Mizuki's building together. Let's go and deliver this good news to Mizuki-sama. Uehara Soma hesitated for a moment, then nodded. The reason for his hesitation was that Uehara Soma had calculated that the current third Mizukage was likely already under the control of Uchiha Madara and had become a puppet of Uchiha Madara. However, Uehara Soma thought carefully. If he wanted to keep Forging Island and maintain the identity of a blacksmith, then exposing Kirito was inevitable. The third Mizukage would definitely find out. Whether he went to the Mizuki's building now or not, the result would be the same. Furthermore, with Uchiha Madara's power, he probably wouldn't care much about just a ninjato. He was an existence even that didn't even regard the tailed beasts highly. Uehara Soma was somewhat relieved that the Hidden Mist Village was not in the era when Yagura was controlled by Uchiha Obito. Compared to Uchiha Madara's exploitation of the Hidden Mist Village, Uchiha Obito's hatred for the Hidden Mist Village was genuine. Even if there were any signs of resurgence in the Hidden Mist Village, with Uchiha Obito's character, he would definitely find a way to annihilate it in its infancy, not giving the Hidden Mist Village any chance. Hoshigaki Kisame and Uehara Soma left Forging Island, heading towards Mizukage Island. Zabuza, squad captain, what about us? Follow them. Congratulations, host, on completing the forging. Kirito successfully forged. Completion level, ordinary. Congratulations, host, on gaining swordsmanship experience x300. This was the feedback reward Uehara Soma received upon completing the forging of Kirito. At this moment, the information flooding Uehara Soma's mind was about Kirito. Kirito. Type, long sword. Quality, ordinary. Abilities, unhealable injuries caused by Kirito cannot be healed, but due to its ordinary quality, the effect is weakened, lasting for 10 days. Note, according to the third rule of the blacksmith, this ninjato cannot harm its creator. Just being of ordinary quality made Uehara Soma somewhat regretful. However, being able to successfully create Kirito on the first attempt, Uehara Soma was still quite satisfied. This was at least a successful beginning. Moreover, an ordinary quality Kirito was already a very good ninjato compared to the Hidden Mist 7 ninja swords. In Uehara Soma's view, even the long sword, Nuibari, the blunt sword, Kabutori, and even the executioner's blade were not as good as Kirito. Furthermore, the fact that it couldn't harm the creator was a pleasant surprise for Uehara Soma. At least there was no possibility of being backstabbed. Uehara Soma looked at the semi-transparent screen in front of him. Name, Uehara Soma. Comprehensive Strength, Genin. Swordsmanship, Novice, 300. Forging Technique, Good, Excellent enhanced by Forging Island. Mission Items, None. Blacksmith Reputation, 39. Evaluation, as a blacksmith, the foundation is quite good. Due to having your own forging site, the forging technique has been enhanced, with a chance of producing ninja tools of superior quality or above. As a ninja, the strength is worrying, and in war, one can only be considered cannon fodder. The two arrived at the entrance of the Mizuki's building. We need to see Mizuki-sama, it's very important, Hoshigaki Kisame said to the guard ninja at the door. The guard ninja gave Hoshigaki Kisame a brief glance. Mizuki-sama is busy. Chapter 7, Third Mizuki's Shock. Please announce our presence. Mizuki-sama said no one is to disturb him when he's busy. We have very important matters. The guard ninja narrowed his eyes. The atmosphere suddenly became tense. Uehara Soma was somewhat surprised by the hostility of the Hidden Mist Village ninja. However, upon second thought, isn't heavy hostility a characteristic of the Hidden Mist ninja? It's just that the situation on Forging Island is slightly different. The guard ninja's gaze fell on Hoshigaki Kisame. Hoshigaki Kisame showed no intention of backing down. After a while, I'll go report to Mizuki-sama, you wait here, don't enter without permission, otherwise, you won't be able to bear the consequences of angering Mizuki-sama. With that said, the guard ninja turned and entered Mizuki's building. At this time, a figure quietly left Mizuki's building, unnoticed by anyone. Before long, the guard ninja returned. Mizuki-sama has allowed you to enter. Uehara Soma and Hoshigaki Kisame entered Mizuki's building. Zabuza followed quietly behind. Uehara Soma observed the third Mizukage sitting across from him. Long hair, slender eyes, he seemed like a very calm and gentle person. His speech was slow and deliberate. There was no trace of impatience about him. However, the Bloody Mist era began precisely during the reign of the third Mizukage. Uehara Soma was uncertain whether it was Uchiha Madara who controlled the third Mizukage from the beginning, creating the Bloody Mist policy, or if the third Mizukage himself had such intentions. But whether it was the former or the latter, it proved that the current third Mizukage was not as he appeared. "Please, sit." The third Mizukage closed the document in his hand, rubbed his temples, then forced a smile, looking at Uehara Soma and his companions. "Matsumoto told me you have something very important. What is it?" Uehara Soma presented the Kirai Kimonji in his hand. "Mizukage-sama, this is the ninjato I just forged, named Kirai Kimonji." "Ninjato?" The third Mizukage took it, examining it closely. "Not bad at all. The blade, its sharpness, its durability among ninjato, it's all of exquisite quality." The third Mizukage commented, then looked at Uehara Soma. "What's your name?" "I'm Uehara Soma, Mizukage-sama, a disciple of Sensei Kawaji." "Kawaji, The third Mizukage's expression brightened with recognition. "Kawaji once forged a ninjato for me, it was very impressive, ranking just below the Hidden Mist 7 ninja swords level. Among the many smiths on Forging Island, Kawaji's skill is among the best. How time flies, before you know it, Kawaji's disciples are already grown up like this. If Kawaji were still alive and saw you forge such a quality ninjato, he would surely feel immensely proud. With young successors like you on Forging Island, there's no need to worry." But suddenly, the third Mizukage's expression stiffened slightly. Because the third Mizukage remembered. Not long ago, he had officially ordered the closure of Forging Island, revoking the status of all smiths and integrating them into ordinary mission ninjas. The third Mizukage glanced at Uehara Soma, then at Zabuza. It was Zabuza who was tasked with the clearance of Forging Island. The third Mizukage immediately understood Uehara Soma's intention. "Soma, the ninjato you forged is indeed impressive." The third Mizukage said, "However, on the battlefield, such ninjato, compared to those from the Land of Iron, doesn't have much difference. The village must consider the interests of the entire village. The existence of Forging Island now has a negative impact on the village. The consumption of a smith is substantial. If it were a time of peace, the village could sustain it. But, currently, the war is raging. I know this is a cruel thing for you all. But, Soma, for the sake of the village, I have to make such a decision." The third Mizukage spoke with tact, but it was clear. That is, the existence of smiths now, the existence of Forging Island, are burdens for the Hidden Mist village. This is indeed a fact. A smith consumes a vast amount of resources. Just like the puppetry masters of the Hidden Sand village. Apart from talent, resource consumption is also a major issue faced by puppetry masters. Otherwise, why are there so few puppetry masters in the Hidden Sand village? Is there really no one else with the talent? Impossible. The real key lies in resources. In fact, most ninjas are not wealthy. They dare not even buy a few extra explosive tags. Many ninjas' tools are recycled multiple times by Soma. The consumption of resources by smiths is not as terrifying as puppetry masters, and the things they produce can ultimately be used, it's just that the cost is considerably higher than that of tools from the Land of Iron. But facing the wartime conditions of the Hidden Mist village, the third Mizukage doesn't want to invest in these resources anymore. It's not just the third Mizukage. Other village elders are the same. Unless you can forge a ninjato of the same level as the Hidden Mist 7 ninja swords, but that should be unlikely. The third Mizukage said. The Hidden Mist 7 ninja swords were all forged by the same smith. It's because of this smith that Forging Island exists, and that there are so many smiths afterward. But after this smith, there hasn't been another ninjato of that caliber. Therefore, within the Hidden Mist village, there is a saying. The strength of the Hidden Mist village's forging technique isn't what's strong, it's just that great blacksmith. The third Mizukage also agrees with this viewpoint. And that blacksmith has long since passed away. The third Mizukage doesn't believe there will be a second blacksmith like him. Mizukage-sama. Uehara Soma said, I think Kirai Kimonji should be comparable to the Hidden Mist 7 ninja swords. You see, Soma, you also know that's. Suddenly, the third Mizukage's expression stiffened for a moment. The first half of the sentence slipped out involuntarily, Only then did the third Mizukage realize that Uehara Soma wasn't saying that Kiryu is inferior to the Hidden Mist 7 ninja swords. What he was saying is that Kiryu has reached the level of the Hidden Mist 7 ninja swords. The third Mizukage looked at Uehara Soma, his expression becoming serious. Soma, you're saying this ninjato has reached the level of the Hidden Mist 7 ninja swords? Yes, Mizukage-sama. Uehara Soma said, the Hidden Mist 7 ninja swords are all very excellent ninjato, the twin sword Hiramekari, the sever sword Executioner's Blade, the long sword Sewing Needle, the blunted sword Helmet Splitter, the thunder swords Kaiba, the blast sword Splash, and the great sword Samehada. Hiramekari can amplify chakra. Executioner's Blade can self-repair. Sewing Needle has extremely strong penetrating power. Helmet Splitter can cut through anything. Kaiba comes with extremely strong lightning release. Splash adds explosive tag damage. Samehada absorbs chakra. The Hidden Mist 7 ninja swords each have their own special abilities. Kiryu does too. Kiryu inflicts wounds that undergo a special effect. Within 10 days, they cannot heal. Only after 10 days will the effect on the wound disappear. Chapter 8, Kiryu ability. Third Mizukage glanced at Uehara Soma, then at the Kiryu in his hand. This ninjato has such a special effect. Unhealable. Duration, 10 days. This ability may not sound very powerful, but in actual combat, its practicality is strong. For ninjas, getting injured is actually quite common. Once injured, one's condition will be affected. With the loss of blood, the onset of pain, a ninja's reaction, focus, will not be as concentrated, and there will also be a certain impact on stamina and endurance. Usually, ninjas will promptly treat their injuries. Control muscle contractions to reduce the wound. Use bandages to wrap the wound. And use external trauma medications. Medical ninjas can also use medical ninjutsu. In a situation where two ninjas, who were evenly matched, both sustain serious injuries, one party's injuries can be alleviated through treatment, while the other has no way to heal. So obviously, the former will gain a huge advantage. Yes. As soon as Uehara Soma finished speaking. Pfft. Third Mizukage drew Kiryu from its sheath, then extended his hand, rolled up his sleeve, and slashed his own arm. Immediately, a 1-inch wound appeared. Blood spills. Uehara Soma, Hoshigaki Kisame and Zabuza, seeing this scene, were also somewhat surprised. Uehara Soma looked at the third Mizukage, suddenly feeling that it was not surprising at all that the third Mizukage proposed the policy of the Bloody Mist. The third Mizukage's personality and appearance are completely different. He looks gentle and easygoing on the outside. But his character is unexpectedly crazy. In order to test the effectiveness of Kiryu, he directly cut his own hand. A normal person would never do such a thing. Even in the Hidden Mist village, known for its hostility, they didn't care whether there were any other deadly poisons on the blade of Kiryu besides the effect mentioned by Uehara Soma. The third Mizukage concentrated chakra at the wound. Hey! The third Mizukage raised an eyebrow slightly. It really is. The wound caused by this ninjato has a special power entwined with it, completely different from a normal wound. Immediately, the third Mizukage tore his own clothes again, tore off a few strips of cloth, and used them as bandages. He wrapped them around the wound in circles. But blood still flowed out, just because the blood vessels were under pressure and slowed down a bit, but the blood in the capillaries near the wound was not blocked and quickly soaked the bandages. Drip. Blood dripped onto the table. The third Mizukage's face showed no sign of worry, even his eyes lit up, showing excitement. Go, find a medical ninja. The third Mizukage gestured to the ANBU ninja outside the window. Yes, Mizukage-sama. The ANBU ninja left. Soon, a medical ninja hurriedly entered the Mizukage's office. Mizukage-sama. The third Mizukage exposed the wound and showed it to the medical ninja. For this wound, use some medical ninjutsu. Yes, Mizukage-sama. The medical ninja raised his hands, gathering chakra on them, aiming at the third Mizukage's wound. A faint green glow appeared. However, to the medical ninja's surprise, normally, such a wound would have healed quickly under the effect of their own medical ninjutsu. But now, there was no sign of healing at all in the third Mizukage's wound. For a moment, the medical ninja became anxious. Mizukage-sama, The third Mizukage waved his hand. It's not your fault, you can leave. Yes, Mizukage-sama. The uneasy medical ninja left. The third Mizukage looked at Uehara Soma, his eyes shining brightly. Soma, you really surprised me. This Kiryu-Kimonji has completely reached the level of the Hidden Mist 7 ninja swords. Regardless of its toughness or sharpness, more importantly, this special ability, in battle, is bound to play a very remarkable role. Soma, what are your plans for your Kiryu-Kimonji? What do you want? The appearance of Kiryu-Kimonji surprised the third Mizukage. Even though not long ago, the Hidden Mist 7, when facing Might-Do, suffered a devastating defeat. Many people from the Hidden Mist village were dissatisfied with the Hidden Mist 7 because of this. They felt that the mighty Hidden Mist 7 actually lost to a genin, which was a disgrace. In this situation, people's evaluation of the Hidden Mist 7 ninja swords also decreased significantly. But the third Mizukage was very clear that it was not that the Hidden Mist 7 were too weak. The Hidden Mist 7 were all elite Jonin, at least at Jonin level. It was that genin from Konoha who suddenly erupted. A very strange eruption. Kiryu-Kimonji, in the eyes of the third Mizukage, is no less than the Hidden Mist 7 ninja swords. And what's more important is Uehara Soma's age. The current Uehara Soma, at the age of only 15 or 16, can create ninjato like Kiryu-Kimonji. So, what about the future? It's not asking for much, as long as Uehara Soma can forge 3 or more ninjato of this caliber, then in the eyes of the third Mizukage, Uehara Soma's value to the Hidden Mist village is already very high. Uehara Soma expressed his own request. Mizukage-sama, I hope not to abolish Forging Island. For forging, Forging Island is the most suitable place. Also, regarding Kiryu-Kimonji, I hope Kisame can give it a try. Hoshigaki Kisame was taken aback for a moment, then his face brightened. But he also worried that this might offend the third Mizukage. The third Mizukage's previous behavior made Hoshigaki Kisame somewhat worried, feeling that the third Mizukage was not quite normal. Beside them, Zabuza looked at Hoshigaki Kisame with envy. The third Mizukage spoke. Soma, since you have created ninjato like Kiryu-Kimonji, there is naturally no need to abolish Forging Island. From today on, Forging Island will be under your responsibility, Soma. However, you are different from other blacksmiths, Soma. Most of them just idle around. You can keep a few as assistants. In addition, I can arrange a team of guards to be stationed at Forging Island. With that, the third Mizukage glanced at Hoshigaki Kisame beside him. Do you wish to give Kiryu-Kimonji to Kisame? Uehara Soma nodded. Yes, Mizukage-sama. During the process of forging Kiryu-Kimonji, Kisame has helped me a lot, and besides, Kisame and I are friends. I know Kisame very well, and he has excellent skills in Kenjutsu. I think Kisame will be a very good ninjato user. Uehara Soma didn't mention specific details. The third Mizukage thought that the help Uehara Soma mentioned referred to Hoshigaki Kisame guarding outside during the forging process, ensuring that Zabuza, sent by himself, did not disturb the forging. Let's discuss it later, for now, let's head to Forging Island. Chapter 9, The Third Mizukage's Reward. This is what Forging Island looks like now. The third Mizukage sighed. After issuing the order to ban Forging Island and changing all blacksmiths to mission ninjas, the third Mizukage, after discussing with many elders of the village, felt that Forging Island and the blacksmiths were no longer of value. With the current situation in Hidden Mist Village, it is impossible to continue supporting Forging Island. However, the third Mizukage did not expect that before his order was officially issued, Forging Island had already become so dilapidated. Compared to the last time the third Mizukage came, it was like night and day. Uehara Soma explained, previously, there were more blacksmiths on Forging Island. Upon hearing the news that the village was going to ban Forging Island, they left early to seek other jobs. The third Mizukage nodded. Soma, I entrust Forging Island to you. At the next moment, the expression on the third Mizukage's face became serious. Uehara Soma, listen carefully. Yes, Mizukage-sama, Uehara Soma replied. You have made significant contributions in crafting Kiryu-Kimonji. I hereby appoint you as the head of the forging department, with full authority over Forging Island affairs, enjoying the benefits of a standard department head. You will oversee 2 squads. One squad is the forging team, recruited by you personally, enjoying official status, with a limit of 4 members. One squad is the Forging Island security team, assigned by me personally, obeying your commands, responsible for the safety of Forging Island. Uehara Soma, are you willing? Uehara Soma quickly agreed. Mizuki-sama, I am willing. This outcome far exceeded Uehara Soma's expectations. Uehara Soma only wanted to save Forging Island. This was related to Uehara Soma's ability to enhance his forging skills. Once he lost this forging skill bonus, it would be much harder for Uehara Soma to successfully craft tools from the blueprints. The difference between a good level forging skill and an excellent level forging skill is not trivial. And now, not only did Forging Island survive, but Uehara Soma also gained the position of head of the forging department. Even though this forging department was somewhat lacking, among the many departments in Hidden Mist Village, it might be the smallest, even smaller than some squads in certain departments. For example, A and BU squads. However, the treatment at the level of department head is genuine. The status of department head is legitimate. In a sense, Uehara Soma can be considered a senior officer of Hidden Mist Village. Having a security team dedicated to protecting Forging Island. And being able to recruit 4 officially recognized blacksmiths. Suddenly, there's position, status, power, everything. It can be said that if Hidden Mist Village and the shinobi world can remain stable in the future, then what Uehara Soma has now is already enough. He could be considered a winner in life. Uehara Soma didn't expect the third Mizukage to offer so much. After all he had produced so far was just one Kiryu-Kimonji. And it was of ordinary quality. Moreover, Hidden Mist Village already had the 7 ninja swordsmen. Coupled with the disastrous defeat of the 7 ninja swordsmen against Might Do before, which lowered people's evaluation of the 7 ninja swordsmen, naturally, there wouldn't be too high expectations for newly emerged ninja swords. What the third Mizukage gave to Uehara Soma could be considered far beyond what should be given the current situation of Hidden Mist Village. It surprised Uehara Soma a bit. Alright. The third Mizukage patted Uehara Soma's shoulder and said, Soma, I'm leaving everything to you here. I hope you can lead Forging Island back to its peak. However, the village's current situation isn't very good. Therefore, we can't provide much assistance to Forging Island in terms of rare resources. I hope you understand this, Soma. Uehara Soma nodded. Mizuki-sama, I understand. I will do my best to produce more and better ninjato, not to disappoint your expectations. As for resources, I'm actually not lacking much at the moment. In fact, the current outcome already satisfied Uehara Soma. In terms of resources, Uehara Soma was indeed not lacking much. After all, blueprints produced by the system require materials that are not ordinary materials in the shinobi world. They need materials obtained from dungeon instances. It's probably because he values my potential, Uehara Soma thought. Plus, apart from me, there's no one else in Hidden Mist Village skilled in forging. So he gave me these incentives. The image of the third Mizukage in Uehara Soma's mind gradually became fuller. He appeared refined and easygoing on the surface. But his character could be described as completely radical. The scene where the third Mizukage unhesitatingly slashed himself with Kiryu-Kimonji truly shocked Uehara Soma. Useless elements to the village could be unhesitatingly banned and eliminated. But for those with potential, with hope, those looked upon favorably, rewards wouldn't be withheld. However, despite receiving these rewards, Uehara Soma wouldn't entertain any notions of being lazy. Because Uehara Soma is well aware that the future of Hidden Mist Village remains fraught with danger. Uchiha Madara's schemes. Internal strife within Hidden Mist Village. Persecution of bloodline ninjas. Coercion of ninja clans. Uchiha Obito's control over Yagura. Defection of Jinchuriki. Not to mention the impending catastrophe that will engulf the entire shinobi world. Uchiha Obito's Moon Eye Plan. An Akatsuki organization that delights in inflicting pain on others. Otsutsuki Kagaya's Resurrection Plan. Otsutsuki members from the moon. And the extraterrestrial Otsutsuki clan. Jonin? Not enough. Kage? Not enough. Only by attaining the 6 paths level, or even surpassing it, can one truly claim to possess enough self-defense power in this world, ensuring one's survival. Therefore, Uehara Soma not only lacks any thought of standing still but instead feels an intense sense of urgency. Gain more reputation. Craft more ninjato. Complete more system tasks. Earn more rewards. Make oneself stronger. Until having enough strength, Uehara Soma won't slow down. Good then. The third Mizukage smiled. Soma, I leave you here. From today, Forging Island is yours. As for the user, the third Mizukage looked at Hoshigaki Kisame. Kisame, why don't you give it a try now? Hoshigaki Kisame stepped forward, feeling somewhat excited. Previously, when Hoshigaki Kisame told Uehara Soma not to repay him, it was because from a friend's perspective, Hoshigaki Kisame believed that as a friend, he should help without expecting anything in return. But deep down, Hoshigaki Kisame had an intense desire for ninjato. Since he was young, Hoshigaki Kisame had longed to have his own ninjato and to become one of the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist. Now finally comes this opportunity. Kirito has already undergone personal testing by the third Mizukage. The third Mizukage personally confirmed that this is indeed a ninjato of Hidden Mist 7 ninja swords level. And from the effects, it's not inferior to the Hidden Mist 7 ninja swords at all. Take it. With that, the third Mizukage threw Kirito to Hoshigaki Kisame. Yes, Mizukage-sama. Chapter 10, Excellent Level Water Release Talent. Hoshigaki Kisame hurriedly caught Kirito, grasping the handle, feeling it carefully. In the next moment, he looked towards the sea. Water Release, Water Prison Jutsu. A huge water prison sphere appeared. And within the water prison was a fish, a large fish. Hoshigaki Kisame raised Kirito and stabbed straight towards the big fish. Hoochie! A blade fell. Immediately, a wound appeared on the back of the big fish, blood flowing continuously without any sign of slowing down, even though much time had passed. Suddenly, Hoshigaki Kisame felt a slight vibration, emanating from Kirito. A strange sense of closeness surged up. Hoshigaki Kisame was somewhat puzzled. What is this? A voice sounded in Uehara Soma's mind. A contractee who matches Kirito has been detected. ACAIM approval, high, attribute matching, upper mid, degree of fit, excellent, should guidance be given for a contract. Uehara Soma's eyebrows twitched slightly. To receive a contract prompt, a certain degree of compatibility must be reached. When third Mizukage used Kirito just now, there was no such prompt, proving that the compatibility between Kirito and third Mizukage is insufficient. However, Kisame and Kirito not only match, but their compatibility level also reaches the excellent level. Uehara Soma didn't hesitate. Yes. Kirito contract successful. Compatibility, excellent. Kirito has obtained a certain degree of amplification, the duration of the unhealable effect has been increased to 15 days, and the consumption when used by the contractor is reduced to a certain extent. Completing the contract, and still getting amplification. That's a pleasant surprise. But it's also reasonable. If making a contract brings no change, then the contract would be meaningless. Ninja tools are not only for the contractors to use. Kirito can be used by Hoshigaki Kisame, third Mizukage, and even Zabuza. But with this effect, Kirito in the hands of third Mizukage is completely different from in the hands of Kisame. Another voice sounded. Congratulations to the host for obtaining excellent level water release ninjutsu talent. Uehara Soma felt delighted, quickly looking at the semi-transparent screen in front of him. This was what Uehara Soma truly anticipated. 1 forging, 2 rewards. Completing forging earns 1 reward. Guiding contracts earns another reward. These rewards are the key to Uehara Soma's strength. Name, Uehara Soma. Comprehensive Strength, Genin. Swordsmanship, Novice, 300. Water Release Ninjutsu Talent, Excellent. Forging Technique, Good, Excellent. Forging Island Bonus, Mission Items, None. Blacksmith Reputation, 169. Evaluation, as a blacksmith, the foundation is decent. Because of owning a forging site, the forging technique receives a bonus, with a chance of crafting ninja tools above fine quality. As a ninja, the strength is worrisome, in times of war, can only be considered cannon fodder. Uehara Soma's eyes lit up. Uehara Soma looked towards Hoshigaki Kisame. Uehara Soma hesitated to request third Mizukage to let Hoshigaki Kisame try Kirito. Because Uehara Soma felt Kirito wasn't good enough. He was confident in forging a better ninjato in the future, and Hoshigaki Kisame deserved a better ninjato. Firstly, Hoshigaki Kisame was currently Uehara Soma's only friend. Secondly, when Uehara Soma forged Kirito, Hoshigaki Kisame had also helped a lot. He entered the dungeon instance, assisted Uehara Soma in completing tasks, and obtained materials. Later, he stood guard at the entrance of the forging room. For this, he even confronted Zabuza, who came with orders from 3rd Mizukage. It was a very dangerous situation. Just as Zabuza said, for those who disobey 3rd Mizukage's orders, according to the rules of the Hidden Mist Village, Zabuza could execute Hoshigaki Kisame on the spot. Of course, whether he could or not was another matter. However, after careful consideration, Uehara Soma still voiced this request to 3rd Mizukage. Firstly, because Uehara Soma had made a promise before. Secondly, Uehara Soma knew that he could forge better ninjato in the future, but Hoshigaki Kisame didn't. Though Kiryu was lacking, nobody said that a ninjato user could only use one ninjato. The three-sword style from Zoro was a typical example. Thirdly, Uehara Soma believed that Hoshigaki Kisame would be an excellent ninjato contractee. Contracting Kiryu with Hoshigaki Kisame would surely bring him good rewards. After all, Hoshigaki Kisame's talent could be considered very strong. And the result was just as Uehara Soma expected. Hoshigaki Kisame felt that Kiryu in his hand, though it was his first time using it, felt as if he had used it countless times before, very familiar. Hoshigaki Kisame's expression, 3rd Mizukage also noticed. At the same time, 3rd Mizukage also sensed the changes in Kiryu in Hoshigaki Kisame's hands. 3rd Mizukage remembered that previously, Kiryu Same didn't exhibit such behavior in his own hands. Soma, what is this? He asked. Mizukage-sama, this proves that Kiryu and Kisame have a good level of compatibility. Kiryu has acknowledged Kisame, replied Uehara Soma. 3rd Mizukage raised an eyebrow slightly. Kiryu has such an effect? What changes occur after acknowledgement? The specifics would be clear only to Kisame. Hoshigaki Kisame stabbed again at the large fish trapped by the water prison jutsu. This time, Hoshigaki Kisame clearly felt that the sensation was different from before. The duration of the unhealable effect had extended, although Hoshigaki Kisame couldn't feel it temporarily. But Hoshigaki Kisame could sense that the consumption when using Kiryu had decreased. This greatly surprised Hoshigaki Kisame. The effect of Kiryu already satisfied Hoshigaki Kisame greatly. And now, with reduced consumption, it meant that Hoshigaki Kisame could fight for a longer time or allocate this portion of chakra to other aspects. Overall strength had been improved. Mizukage-sama, this time I used Kiryu, and the chakra consumption was even less, Hoshigaki Kisame reported. Oh, is that so? 3rd Mizukage glanced at Kiryu in Hoshigaki Kisame's hand. Since Kiryu has chosen you, Kisame, then you should use it for now. However, make sure not to disappoint Kiryu. Don't let down Soma's trust in you. Hoshigaki Kisame restrained his excitement and nodded seriously. Yes, Mizukage-sama. Zabuza looked at Hoshigaki Kisame with even more envy in his eyes. I hope you can make the name of the Hidden Mist's 8th blade known to the ninja world as soon as possible. Hoshigaki Kisame nodded heavily. I will not disappoint Mizukage-sama's expectations. He declared. Hoshigaki Kisame was well aware that, just like becoming one of the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist, being a ninjato owner required not only essential strength but also significant achievements for the village. And currently, he did not meet this criterion. The reason 3rd Mizukage agreed was twofold. 1. He and Kiryu indeed had a good fit. The other was out of respect for Uehara Soma. However, this would surely invite gossip. Therefore, what he needed to do was to quickly become worthy of Kiryu. He needed to enhance his strength. He needed to contribute more to the village. Zabuza, unable to contain his burning gaze towards Kiryu any longer, stepped forward. Mizukage-sama. Zabuza. Mizukage-sama, I wish to apply to join the Forging Island Guard. Chapter 11, Shameless Zabuza. For Kiryu, Zabuza knows he's out of chances to get it. But Zabuza thinks, since Uehara Soma could forge Kiryu, maybe in the future he could forge another ninjato of the same level. If he becomes a member of the Forging Island security team, he can be close to the Mizukage. The 3rd Mizukage looked at Zabuza and shook his head. The selection for the Forging Island security, I've already decided. There happens to be a mission here, I need you and Kisame to complete it. Come to the Mizukage's building tomorrow morning. After saying this, the third Mizukage turned and left. Zabuza glanced enviously at Hoshigaki Kisame, then shifted his gaze to Uehara Soma. Soma-senpai, I'll take my leave. Uehara Soma nodded. Watching Zabuza's back, Hoshigaki Kisame snorted. This brat really has no shame. Before, his attitude was so tough, even saying he'd kill me here. Now that he knows you can forge a ninjato of Hidden Mist 7 ninja swords level, his attitude has completely changed. Uehara Soma recalled information about Zabuza. During his youth, Uehara Soma didn't understand Zabuza. He only knew that Zabuza, like Hoshigaki Kisame, was a genius from the Hidden Mist village, who emerged from among the rest through extremely harsh and cruel elimination. Failed to assassinate the fourth Mizukage in the future, becoming a rogue ninja. Cruel, ruthless, murderous, ambitious. But also has a compassionate side, namely the friendship with Haku. Uehara Soma's impression of Zabuza wasn't as bad as Hoshigaki Kisame's. Moreover, in Uehara Soma's view, with Zabuza's talent, he would be a good candidate as a ninjato contractor in the future. The better the talent of the ninjato contractor, the better the rewards after Uehara Soma guides them through the contract. Soma, thank you. Hoshigaki Kisame withdrew his gaze, sheathing Kirikomanji at his waist. Uehara Soma smiled. You're welcome. You helped me complete Akame's commission, obtained the materials, and also stood guard at the entrance of the forging room for so long while I was forging. This is what I promised you before. And besides, we're friends. Friends don't need to say thank you. Hoshigaki Kisame nodded. Next time you go to the Forging Master Spiritual Land, if you need help, just call me anytime. Okay. Entering Forging Island. Compared to the previous 2 days, the mood of the two was completely different. The news brought by Hoshigaki Kisame worried Uehara Soma greatly. Coming to such a dangerous village, the system had just been activated, and Forging Island had just been bound. Now, Forging Island was about to be disbanded. For Uehara Soma, this was undoubtedly a huge blow. But fortunately, Uehara Soma successfully completed the forging of Kirikomanji. Not only did he save Forging Island, he also solved the problem that had been bothering him. Uehara Soma also obtained the position of Chief of the Forging Department. Control of Forging Island. Protection from a security team and quotas for 4 subordinate forging artisans. As for Hoshigaki Kisame, just 2 days ago he was deeply worried about Uehara Soma, planning to use his family's resources to arrange a relatively easy and safe position for him. Now, those worries were completely unnecessary. Hoshigaki Kisame also obtained the ninjato of his dreams. It wasn't the Mist 7, but Hoshigaki Kisame felt that with Kirikomanji in hand, he would surely become the 8th member of the Hidden Mist Village 7. Hoshigaki Kisame was eager to go and fight the enemy, to prove himself, to prove Kirikomanji. But the atmosphere of Forging Island became even more desolate. The few remaining blacksmiths seemed to have also moved away from Forging Island. Perfectly illustrating the saying, when the tree falls, the birds scatter. Hoshigaki Kisame raised his fist. Soma, with you here, Forging Island will surely return to its former prosperity sooner or later. Uehara Soma nodded, and bumped fists with Hoshigaki Kisame. At that moment, a figure entered the view of the two. A young man. The young man sat cross-legged with his eyes closed on the ground, next to a small table where a knife lay. He was bare-chested. Upon hearing the footsteps of Uehara Soma and Hoshigaki Kisame, he lifted his head. But he didn't open his eyes. Have you come? I will not leave Forging Island. I was born to be a blacksmith. To try to disband Forging Island, to try to strip me of my identity as a blacksmith, is something I absolutely cannot accept. Either give up, or kill me. The young man opened his hands. Come on. Hoshigaki Kisame showed a strange expression. Uehara Soma recognized the young man. Like Uehara Soma, he was also a blacksmith. Their situations were somewhat similar, both being orphans from the Hidden Mist village, and both of their sensei had passed away. Named Arafuni. There wasn't much communication between them. Uehara Soma didn't expect that the last blacksmith to remain on Forging Island would be Arafuni, rather than one of the senior blacksmiths who had been working in forging for decades. Arafuni's dedication to forging is commendable, preferring to live and die with Forging Island. And I indeed need an assistant. Uehara Soma made a decision. Arafuni, it's me, Uehara Soma. Arifune opened his eyes, looked at Uehara Soma, glanced at Hoshigaki Kisame, but didn't pay much attention. Uehara Soma, you haven't left either. Soma doesn't need to leave. Hoshigaki Kisame proudly spoke for Uehara Soma. Just now, Mizukichi-sama has appointed Soma as the chief of the forging department, fully in charge of Forging Island affairs. Arifune was stunned. Chief of the forging department? Wasn't the plan to disband Forging Island? Weren't they going to dissolve the forging department? Wasn't that Mizukichi-sama's order? Are you serious? Hoshigaki Kisame lifted his chin slightly. Of course it's true. Mizukichi-sama's orders are genuine, as is Soma's appointment. Because before Mizukichi-sama's orders were officially carried out, Soma forged a ninjato of Hidden Mist 7 ninja swords level. That's why Mizukichi-sama ordered the cancellation of the order to disband Forging Island. Furthermore, Forging Island is now fully entrusted to Soma for management. Arifune's eyes widened. A ninjato of Hidden Mist 7 ninja sword level. This is it. Hoshigaki Kisame grasped the hilt of Kirai Kimonji and drew the sword. Kirai Kimonji, forged by Soma's own hands. Arifune's gaze immediately fell on Kirai Kimonji. Taking a step forward. The sudden burst of speed surprised even Hoshigaki Kisame. Arifune stared fixedly at Kirai Kimonji, as if appraising a work of art. His eyes were filled with fascination. Like an infatuated fanatic. This made Hoshigaki Kisame instinctively alert. Arifune, you can look at Kirai Kimonji, but don't touch. Otherwise. Chapter 12, First Assistant. Exquisitely forged, thoroughly hammered, blade sharp, body of the sword pristine. This is the pinnacle among masterpieces. Arifune's gaze burned as he looked at Uehara Soma. Uehara Soma, is this ninjato forged by you? But this ninjato is indeed good, but at this level alone, can it convince Mizukichi-sama to keep Forging Island? Hoshigaki Kisame quickly sheathed Kirai Kimonji while taking advantage of the opportunity. Of course, it's not that simple. Kirai Kimonji, like the Hidden Mist 7 ninja swords, possesses special abilities. Kirai Kimonji inflicts wounds that cannot be healed. Arifune's eyes shone even brighter, eager to see Kirai Kimonji again. But Hoshigaki Kisame didn't allow another look. Guarding it tightly. Uehara Soma added, Mizukichi-sama appointed me as the head of the forging department, in charge of Forging Island. However, compared to before, both the scale of the forging department and Forging Island will be much smaller. Mizukichi-sama has only allocated 4 positions for assistant forgers to me. This means that, besides me, there can only be 4 forgers on the entire Forging Island. However, Mizukichi-sama will also specifically assign an elite team to ensure the security of Forging Island. This means that in the future, Forging Island will only pursue the route of excellence. Indeed, most of the shinobi tools previously manufactured on Forging Island do not have an advantage compared to those produced in the Land of Iron. This is the difference in industrial scale. The primary focus of the Hidden Mist village is still on completing missions and confronting other ninja villages. Forging is just a very small industry in the Hidden Mist village. It emerged because of the great blacksmith from years ago. As time passed and no achievements were made, the scale of the industry became smaller and smaller. But it's different in the Land of Iron. Forging is the cornerstone industry of the Land of Iron. Therefore, the Land of Iron has invested a lot of resources in this area. Human resources, materials. With such a huge scale, talents continue to emerge, and technology continues to innovate, leading to the forging techniques of the Land of Iron getting better and better. In the aspect of ordinary shinobi tool manufacturing, no one can rival the Land of Iron anymore. Arifune looked at Uehara Soma again. Uehara, no, Soma, no, Chief Uehara, can I become your forging assistant? Arifune didn't know much about Uehara Soma before. However, just now Arifune had seen Kirai Kimonji. Even though Arifune hadn't seen the special effect of unhealable wounds mentioned by Hoshigaki Kisame. But just the static performance of Kirai Kimonji alone was enough for Arifune to be sure that Uehara Soma's forging technique was much stronger than his own. Even his own sensei couldn't match Uehara Soma. Moreover, Arifune didn't think what Hoshigaki Kisame said was false. Otherwise, Mizukage wouldn't have rescinded the order to ban Forging Island. An ordinary shinobi tool without special abilities, even if forged excellently, couldn't achieve this. Uehara Soma thought Arifune would be a good assistant. Arifune's performance now was exactly what Uehara Soma had hoped for. However, Uehara Soma didn't immediately agree, but said, Arafune, as you know, Mizukichi-sama has only given me 4 assistant positions, so I must be cautious. Arafune looked disappointed. But Uehara Soma changed the subject. I think Arafune, you are a very good forger, unwilling to give up the identity of a forger even in the face of great pressure, but rather intending to coexist or perish with Forging Island. Therefore, I am willing to give you this opportunity. For 1 month, as long as you meet my requirements within the next month, I will give you an official position. Are you willing? Arafune's disappointed expression suddenly turned into delight. I am willing. Uehara Soma smiled and extended his hand. Arafune, welcome aboard. Arafune greets Chief Uehara. Uehara Soma returned to his small dwelling. There were some people nearby originally, but now they have all left. The entire Forging Island is left with only 3 people. Uehara Soma, Arafune, and Hoshigaki Kisame. And Hoshigaki Kisame is about to leave soon. Hoshigaki Kisame is not a member of Forging Island but a mission ninja, and among the mission ninjas, he is an elite, a genius. Given the current situation in the Hidden Mist Village, Hoshigaki Kisame will be very busy. In fact, this is the case. The third Mizukage has already said that tomorrow morning, Hoshigaki Kisame and Zabuza will go to the Mizukage's building for mission arrangements. Uehara Soma glanced at the sky. Kisame, you should go back first. You have a mission tomorrow. Hoshigaki Kisame hesitated for a moment, then nodded. All right. As a mission ninja, prioritizing missions is instinctual for Hoshigaki Kisame. Arafune, choose any nearby cottage as your future residence, and then move your things there. Yes, Chief Uehara. The 2 left in succession, and Uehara Soma turned and entered his room. Water release, water clone jutsu. A surge of chakra emanated from Uehara Soma's body. The next moment, a figure appeared beside Uehara Soma. An identical figure to Uehara Soma. It was Uehara Soma's water clone. Clone series ninjutsu is widespread in the ninja world. Apart from the most basic clone jutsu, which creates illusory projections, almost every ninja village has its own characteristic clone jutsu. The water clone of the Hidden Mist Village. The shadow clone and multiple shadow clone of Konoha. The earth clone of the Hidden Rock Village. Hidden Sand Village's sand clone. There are also paper clone, snake clone, wood clone, crow clone. As a genin, Uehara Soma's mastery of ninjutsu, particularly outside of forging, is not extensive. Apart from basic taijutsu and tool usage, he only knows 2 ninjutsu. One is water clone jutsu. The other is hiding in mist jutsu. These 2 ninjutsu lean towards auxiliary types. In most cases, a forger doesn't need to engage in combat. Even if faced with danger, fleeing is often more appropriate than fighting. And these 2 water release ninjutsu of Uehara Soma can provide considerable assistance in fleeing. Uehara Soma recalled the process of using water clone just now, his eyes brightening involuntarily. He extended his hand, looked at his palm, and condensed water release chakra on it. It feels completely different from before. Much smoother. Less chakra consumed. The time to form hand seals has also shortened. And there's still the possibility of further improvement. In other terms, previously, water release chakra for me was like an acquaintance. But now, it has become my closest kin. Is this the talent of excellent level water release? Chapter 13, One person is a whole guard team. Uehara Soma flashed a smile. My water release talent now is much stronger than before. With this situation, if I focus on water release next, I'm sure I can become a very skilled water release ninja. Becoming a jonin might not be a problem. This gave Uehara Soma a bit more confidence in facing the cruel Hidden Mist Village. If before, Uehara Soma had this water release talent, he would definitely do everything possible to improve his proficiency in water release. But now, the forging system undoubtedly offers greater prospects. But I still need to learn water release. The forging system can give Uehara Soma a bigger future. However, learning some water release to enhance his self-defense power is absolutely correct. Especially for the current Uehara Soma. Uehara Soma's current strength is still not enough. Moreover, with an excellent level water release talent, learning water release should be efficient. Uehara Soma remembers that in the original plot, Uchiha Itaki, when he first learned the fire release Great Fireball, only needed to hear Uchiha Fugaku explain it once to master it. Some ninjas need to spend several tens of days, or even longer, to learn a ninjutsu. But Uehara Soma isn't sure if Uchiha Ataka's fire release talent is excellent or above excellent. Bang! 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 A series of knocking sounds echoed. Uehara Soma opened the door. A figure stood at the door. Middle-aged. A fierce appearance. A cross-shaped scar adorned his right cheek. Dressed in a sharp ninja attire. One hand gripped the hilt of a ninjato. The blade was huge, resting on his shoulder. Possessing jagged teeth similar to Hoshigaki Kisame's. A violent aura emanated from the middle-aged man. A name flashed in Uehara Soma's mind. Biwa Jozo. Uehara Soma. Jozo Senpai. Biwa Jozo set down the executioner's blade. Due to its heaviness, it pierced straight through the ground. A section of the blade was embedded. Mizukage-sama has tasked me with guarding Forging Island. From today onwards, your safety, as well as Forging Island's security, will be my responsibility. Until my death, nothing will happen to you. This was somewhat unexpected for Uehara Soma. Previously, 3rd Mizukage mentioned arranging a guard team to come over. Uehara Soma thought it would just be 1 or 2 ninjas from ANBU, along with a few others. Unexpectedly, it was Biwa Jozo who arrived. Uehara Soma had a decent impression of Biwa Jozo. This person was somewhat similar to Hoshigaki Kisame. Their fates also bore some resemblance. As a survivor facing the failure of Might-Do, Biwa Jozo faced much criticism upon returning to Hidden Mist Village. Many viewed him and the other members of the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist as a disgrace to the village. But now that the 4 deceased members were gone, such matters seemed less relevant. But those who are alive have to endure those rumors. In this situation, Biwa Jozo and others are actually somewhat similar to Konoha's Sakumo Hatake. The specific events differ, but the outcomes are similar. One is a failure in a mission. One is a failure on the battlefield. Both brought significant negative impact to the village. Both faced criticism from the villagers. Rumors spread. Uehara Soma remembers that when Hoshigaki Kisame mentioned Forging Island before, he also brought up the situation of the 7 ninja swordsmen. Hoshigaki Kisame was very displeased with this, considering it nonsense. In the original plot, Biwa Jozo, disappointed with the village, left Hidden Mist Village and joined the Akatsuki organization. He became teammates with Uchiha Atake. Biwa Jozo died protecting Uchiha Atake, confronting Yagura, under the influence of the Tailed Beast Bomb. He faced the Tailed Beast Bomb head-on with the executioner's blade. It can be considered one of the memorable scenes. Comparable to Danzo's Kunao against the Susanoo. The blade broke into 2 pieces. And Biwa Jozo, pierced by 1/2 of the executioner's blade, fatally wounded in the abdomen, met his end. Given Uehara Soma's low opinion of the executioner's blade, this incident weighed heavily on his mind. After Biwa Jozo's death, Hoshigaki Kisame became Uchiha Ataka's next teammate. Jozo-senpai, please come in and have a seat. Uehara Soma sat opposite Biwa Jozo. Jozo-senpai, I didn't expect Mizukage-sama to appoint you as the squad captain of this guard team. Senpai, I'll be relying on you from now on. Do you know when the other team members will arrive? There are no other team members. Uehara Soma paused for a moment. None. Yes, none, Biwa Jozo replied. I am the guard team for Forging Island, and the guard team for Forging Island is me. Having so many people won't make a difference. Uehara Soma pondered. Biwa Jozo's words were true. Initially, when 3rd Mizukage mentioned arranging a guard team, Uehara Soma instinctively thought it would be a small team. But one Biwa Jozo was much stronger than an ordinary ninja team. Especially for Uehara Soma. Uehara Soma needed muscle. Hoshigaki Kisame's missions often involved unpredictable time frames. If Uehara Soma had to rely solely on Hoshigaki Kisame as muscle for dungeon instances, it would be a waste of time. Now that Biwa Jozo had arrived, it was just right for Uehara Soma. Using the white lie of goodwill to deceive Biwa Jozo become his muscle. As a member of Forging Island's guard team, Biwa Jozo could coordinate with him at any time. Uehara Soma didn't need to worry about timing at all. Moreover, based on the original plot, Hoshigaki Kisame's potential ceiling is higher than Biwa Jozo's. But currently, Biwa Jozo's strength is definitely stronger than Hoshigaki Kisame's. Hoshigaki Kisame is still in his growth phase. Biwa Jozo, on the other hand, has already reached his peak. What Uehara Soma needs is immediate combat power. Jozo Senpai makes sense, Uehara Soma said, and with that, he had an idea. A semi-transparent screen appeared in front of Uehara Soma. Uehara Soma looked at his figure. More precisely, it was the reputation points. 378. This means that, compared to before, even more people now know that Uehara Soma successfully forged a ninjato at the level of the Hidden Mist 7 ninja sword, such as Arafuni and Biwajozo. Just at this moment, the number on the reputation column suddenly jumped. Directly from 378, it leaped to over 900. And it kept increasing. It didn't stop until it passed 1000. Is someone helping spread my reputation? Who? Kisame? Third Mizukage? Or Zabuza? Uehara Soma's eyes lit up. Then he turned his gaze to the lottery machine. Lottery. 10 draws. Chapter 14, Who says ninjato are useless? In the sight of Uehara Soma, the lottery machine spun rapidly. Once, twice, thrice. Physique +1. Spirit +1. Congratulations to the host for obtaining Blue Rose Sword Blueprint X1. Physique +1. Physique +1. Congratulations to the host for obtaining Thug Recruitment Token. Congratulations to the host for obtaining Thug Recruitment Token. 1 Blueprint, 2 Thug Recruitment Tokens, 7 Random Attribute Points, not bad. Uehara Soma felt a joy in his heart, sensing the changes in his body brought by the Random Attribute Points. It felt like a warm current appeared out of nowhere in his body, slowly spreading throughout. Uehara Soma felt as if his body had been slightly strengthened, and his spirit had also become a bit stronger. Then his gaze turned to the higher level prizes. 2 Thug Recruitment Tokens. This meant that Uehara Soma had a means to recruit Biwajozo to fight for him. A blueprint for the Blue Rose Sword. Uehara Soma recalled. The Blue Rose Sword, from the world of Sword Art Online. An ice block standing at the top of the northernmost peak, where the temperature was severe, even in summer, it remained icy cold. One spring. A seed of the blue rose was blown near the ice block. 2 existing destinies slowly intertwined. The ice block melted itself, watering the blue rose. In order to accompany the ice block, the blue rose allowed itself to be frozen before withering. Gradually, the ice block melted into the shape of a sword. And within the blade, a blue rose remained perpetually frozen. Possessing the power of ice. Uehara Soma calmly shifted his gaze back to Biwajozo. Jozo Senpai, have you ever seen the great blacksmith from back then? Biwajozo seemed to be recalling. I saw him from afar when I was young. Uehara Soma's eyebrows twitched slightly. It seemed that Biwajozo's knowledge of the great blacksmith from back then wasn't much. In other words, he could use the same arguments he used on Hoshigaki Kisame with Biwajozo. Jozo Senpai, do you know why, after the death of that great blacksmith back then, no one has been able to forge ninjato of the same level? Why? That was also what piqued Biwajozo's curiosity. As one of the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist, Biwajozo had wielded the executioner's blade for a long time, and had plenty of interactions with the other 7 swordsmen. Compared to the other ninjato forged on the forging island, the ones from the Hidden Mist 7 ninja swords were much stronger. And they also had special abilities. Biwajozo felt that this should not only be a difference in forging techniques, otherwise, the Hidden Mist 7 ninja swords shouldn't have such different styles and special abilities. Before my sensei passed away, he told me a secret. To forge ninjato of the Hidden Mist 7 ninja swords level, besides having extremely strong forging skills, one must also possess a special physique, just like the Kekkei Genkai of ordinary ninjas. Only forging masters with special physiques can go to the Forging Master Spiritual Land, where they can obtain the materials needed to forge special ninjato. Biwajozo showed a sudden realization. So that's why. Uehara Soma's explanation coincided perfectly with Biwajozo's previous speculation. Biwajozo looked at Uehara Soma. The unhealable blade that Mizukage-sama mentioned, Kirai Kimonji, is the one you forged by obtaining materials from the Forging Master Spiritual Land, isn't it, Uehara Soma? That's correct. Suddenly, Biwajozo's gaze towards Uehara Soma became somewhat complicated. Soma, this information, you shouldn't have told me. Even though I am a ninja of the Hidden Mist Village, but after all, you and I have just met for the first time. I am here only on Mizukage-sama's orders to serve as a guard for the Forging Island. Such precious information should not have been disclosed by you. Unconsciously, Biwajozo's address to Uehara Soma had changed. Uehara Soma shook his head. I don't know why that great blacksmith hid the information back then. Only my sensei discovered this secret in the records, but I don't think it's something worth hiding. Jozo-senpai, you are my senpai, one of the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist, who has made great contributions to the village and is now responsible for my safety. I believe you are trustworthy. And, I also need your help. Uehara Soma said, to journey to the Forging Master's spiritual land to obtain materials is not an easy task. I cannot independently go to the Forging Master's spiritual land, it is different from other summoning sanctuaries. I need to receive a commission to do so. It's like a mission for a ninja. If a commission appears, and if I choose to accept it, then I can go to the Forging Master's spiritual land. However, commissions are difficult and often dangerous. With my strength alone, it's not enough. So I need your help, Jozo-senpai. Biwajozo quickly understood. Soma, you need me to be your teammate, to accompany you to the Forging Master's spiritual land and complete the commission. Yes. No problem. Without hesitation, Biwajozo agreed. Not only was there no problem, but Biwajozo's interest was also strong. Since the disastrous defeat against Might-do, the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist had suffered a huge blow. Besides the 4 ninjas who died on the spot, the remaining 3 were also plunged into despair. Biwajozo doubted himself. Kurosuke Rega secluded himself. Sukazan Fugyuki had strange thoughts. Although the 3 of them luckily survived, they were unable to return to the battlefield for the time being. Therefore, the 3rd Mizukage assigned Biwajozo to go to the Forging Island and serve as Uehara Soma's guard. Unable to go to the battlefield, but after all, the strength of the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist still remained here. Serving as guards for Forging Island was completely fine. After arriving at the Mizukage's building, Biwajozo heard the news about Kirito from the 3rd Mizukage, which sparked some interest in him, but not too much. After the rumors about the uselessness of the ninjato erupted, Biwajozo couldn't help but have similar thoughts. Biwajozo began to doubt the executioner's blade. He started to doubt himself. Upon hearing about Kirito, Biwajozo did not doubt the 3rd Mizukage, nor did he doubt Uehara Soma. However, in the situation where all the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist suffered disastrous defeats, how much could a new ninjato truly perform? Would it surpass the previous Hidden Mist 7 ninja swords? Would Hoshigaki Kisame, who possessed Kirito, be stronger than the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist? The appearance of a new ninjato of the Hidden Mist 7 ninja sword level was something to be pleased about. But Biwajozo didn't think it would provide any substantial help to the war effort of the Hidden Mist village. However, after hearing the information from Uehara Soma, Biwajozo's thoughts changed. Because according to what Uehara Soma revealed, in the future, the ninjato forged by Uehara Soma would definitely not be just 2 or 3, and it might even surpass the great blacksmith of the past. A squad of the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist was no match for Might-do. But what about 2? Chapter 15, I'll protect you. I never expected such secrets hidden behind the Hidden Mist 7 ninja swords. The materials come from Forging Master's spiritual land. This place will have commissions for external provision. Only Forging Masters with special physiques can enter Forging Master's spiritual land. Completing the commission will earn you special forging materials. Soma, are these commissions appearing frequently? Uehara Soma shook his head. I don't know, so far, only 2 commissions have appeared. 1, Kisame and I have already completed, obtaining materials and forging Kirito. The other one, we haven't completed yet. Biwajozo calculated in his mind. First, Uehara Soma's age. Biwajozo had some understanding of Uehara Soma's information. But he was barely 15. At this age, there had already been 2 commissions. And going to Forging Master's spiritual land was definitely not something one could do from birth. Just like a ninja's Kekkei Genkai, it wasn't something you could use as soon as you were born, it required time to grow, practice, to meet the conditions for using Kekkei Genkai. A typical example is the Sharingan. Practice is required to awaken it. Some who lack talent may even practice but still cannot awaken it. According to Biwajozo's guess, Uehara Soma might have only recently gained the qualification to go to Forging Master's spiritual land. Suddenly, Biwajozo's breathing became rapid. Because Biwajozo realized that in such a short time, Uehara Soma had received 2 commissions. In the future, Uehara Soma would definitely receive more than just 7 commissions. So, in the future, how many such ninja tools could Uehara Soma forge? A dozen? Several dozen? Or even more? His previous estimate had been conservative. The 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist would probably soon become history. Replacing them would be an entire school. In that case, how powerful would this school be? By then, how strong would the hidden mist village become? In the mind of Biwajozo, a figure appeared. Might do. Previously, the reason why Biwajozo mentioned the futility of numbers to Uehara Soma. One reason is that Biwajozo indeed believed so. The other is Biwajozo's self-deprecation. Clearly, despite the overwhelming numerical advantage of the 7 swordsmen of the mist against Might Do. Yet, Might Do, just one person, managed to defeat all of the 7 swordsmen of the mist. It was a devastating defeat. Biwajozo felt discouraged as a result. However, now, in Uehara Soma, Biwajozo saw hope. Even if another Might Do comes, so what? In the depths of Biwajozo's mind, that nightmare-like scene faded somewhat. The great blacksmith, regarding this information, has hidden it well. Apart from himself and a few close associates, probably no one else knows. I don't want to leak this information. That's normal. That's just human nature. But Soma. Biwajozo looked at Uehara Soma. Soma can only be described as selfless. He directly told such a secret to someone like me, who he's meeting for the first time. But, it's indeed too naive. Such precious information shouldn't be disclosed so easily. Biwajozo looked earnestly at Uehara Soma. Soma, this information is very important, precious. I appreciate your trust. In return, I'll ensure your safety. Regardless of Mizukage-sama's orders. What Biwajozo didn't know was that Uehara Soma wasn't actually that naive. The reason why he told Hoshigaki Kisame that information was because Hoshigaki Kisame was Uehara Soma's only friend. Uehara Soma also understands Hoshigaki Kisame. A person with very strong principles. In the original plot, upon learning that superiors betrayed village information, he killed them. To protect the village's information, he killed a woman who had feelings for him. To protect Akatsuki's information, he resorted to extremely cruel suicide methods. Creating water-release sharks to devour his own body. It's not just cruel, but tragically so. Moreover, Uehara Soma needs Hoshigaki Kisame to help him complete missions. Now, it's similar with Biwajozo. Uehara Soma understands Biwajozo. Someone who joined Akatsuki simply because he became teammates with Uchiha Itaki, willing to sacrifice his own life to protect this teammate. Another Akatsuki member, Kakuzu, kills his own teammates and enemies together to complete missions quickly. In comparison, Biwajozo is simply a good person through and through. And of course, there's the confidentiality guarantee after they accept his thug token. Moreover, Uehara Soma currently needs Biwajozo to help him complete missions. To acquire the materials for crafting the Blue Rose Sword. Biwajozo continued, but, Soma, remember, you really can't casually share this information with others, or else you'll end up in a very dangerous situation. There are too many bad people in this world. And we have so many hostile villages to the Hidden Mist Village. Almost every ninja village has experienced conflicts with others. Between Hidden Mist Village and Konoha, represented by the Nohara Rin incident. Between Hidden Mist Village and Hidden Sand Village, represented by the Pakura incident. Between Hidden Mist Village and Hidden Rock Village, represented by the events involving the second Mizukage and second Tsuchikage. Uehara Soma nodded. I understand, Jozo-senpai, thank you for your reminder. Biwajozo hesitated for a moment. Soma, even if you don't expose this information, as you continue to forge more ninjatos in the future, the situations you face will become increasingly dangerous and more people will target you. It's not just other ninja villages. Even within the village, it's unstable. Oh, by the way, Soma, how is your ninja strength? Uehara Soma replied, my overall strength is only at the level of a genin. I know basic taijutsu, ordinary ninja tool throwing, and for water release ninjutsu, I only know 2, water clone jutsu and hiding in mist jutsu. That won't do, Biwajozo said. Soma, you need stronger strength. You can't rely solely on others to protect your safety. You must also have strong enough abilities yourself. Forging ninja tools is indeed a very important matter. But your own safety, Soma, is even more crucial for you. Let's do this, whenever you have free time, I'll give you special training, how about it? This is exactly what Uehara Soma wanted. Having just obtained an excellent level water release talent, Uehara Soma wants to turn this talent into strength. However, he lacks the corresponding resources. Biwa-Jozo's proposal is just right for Uehara Soma. Then, I'll trouble you, Jozo-senpai. Chapter 16, Excellent Talent Effect. Soma, you have already forged Kirito. Mizukichi-sama's orders have come down. Forging Island will not be disbanded, and your identity as a blacksmith can be retained. For now, there is no hurry to forge the second ninjato. I'll first assess your strength, and then conduct targeted special training. Forging Master Spiritual Land, it must be very dangerous, right? The difficulty of the commission to obtain such special materials is certainly not low. Even if you can recruit team members, Soma, you still need to have a certain ability to protect yourself at least. Uehara Soma was somewhat surprised by Biwa-Jozo's words. Uehara Soma could tell that Biwa-Jozo was not only acting according to the orders of the third Mizukage but also considering Uehara Soma's interests as the primary concern. Jozo-senpai, thank you. No need. Biwa-Jozo waved his hand. Soma, I actually have my own selfish motives. I don't know if you've heard about it, but we, the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist, faced a mere genin from Konoha and ended up in a miserable defeat. 4 people died on the spot. Only 3 of us were left, barely alive. That incident was like a nightmare to me. I now only need to close my eyes, and I will recall the scene at that time. Biwa-Jozo said, his fist subconsciously clenched, veins bulging on his arm. I'm too weak. I thought that having the title of one of the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist would make me unbeatable. But facing that person, I had no resistance at all. I'm not reconciled. After returning to the village, I kept thinking, am I not suitable to continue being a ninja anymore? Do I not have the qualification to continue being a ninja? But Soma, you have given me new hope. There is a longing in my heart. If you can forge a ninjato that suits me better than the executioner's blade, a ninjato stronger than it, then maybe I can have the strength to erase the shame of the past and take revenge on that genin. Uehara Soma's heart stirred slightly. From Biwa-Jozo's words, it can be seen that Biwa-Jozo also seems to feel that the executioner's blade is not strong enough. There is only one ability to absorb blood and automatically repair. Apart from this, there is nothing special. Compared to regular ninjato, there is really not much difference. Kirito, no matter what, still possesses an unhealable characteristic. Even if what Uehara Soma forges is only of ordinary quality. But it can still maintain its effect for 10 days. After contracting with Hoshigaki Kisame, this time is increased to 15 days. However you look at it, Kirito is a stronger ninjato than the executioner's blade. It's completely understandable for Biwa-Jozo to have such expectations. The first ninjato Uehara Soma forged was Kirito. As long as Forging Master Spiritual Land exists, Uehara Soma can forge more ninjato. The next ninjato he forges is likely to be stronger than Kirito. When a person suffers a great blow and loses their goal, they become depressed, confused, and lost. But when they rediscover their goal, their mindset changes. Now Biwa-Jozo has found his target, which is to seek revenge against Might-Do. However, Biwa-Jozo seems unaware that Might-Do is already dead. Might-Do defeated the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist using a mutually assured destruction method. But Uehara Soma said nothing. As someone who hasn't spent much time on Forging Island, but knows Konoha intelligence that even the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist don't know, Uehara Soma has no way to explain the source of the information. Jozo-senpai, that day will come. Then I'll thank you in advance. Biwa-Jozo flashed a smile. Shall we go out? Is there any suitable place here? Uehara Soma shrugged. Anywhere is fine. Now there are only 3 people on the entire Forging Island, me, my forging assistant Arafune, and you, Jozo-senpai. The 2 arrived outside. Biwa-Jozo looked towards an open space. Soma, let's use this place. Use your 2 water release ninjutsu, and let me see. Uehara Soma stepped forward and formed seals. Water release, water clone. In the next moment, beside Uehara Soma, there appeared an identical figure. Biwa-Jozo was slightly stunned, then his eyes lit up. Water release, hiding in mist jutsu. A large amount of water mist spread out, enveloping the nearby area. Biwa Jozo's eyes shone even brighter. Jozo-senpai, how is it? Biwa Jozo looked at Uehara Soma, sighed after a while. Soma, if I didn't know that you forged such a formidable ninjato like Kirito, I would think that it's a waste for you to not be a ninja and instead be a blacksmith. Your talent in water release is very good. It's not just good. It can completely rival those geniuses in the village. With this, as long as you study seriously, it won't take long for you, Soma, to have quite impressive strength. Biwa Jozo pondered for a moment. You have already learned water clone jutsu and hiding in mist jutsu, so next, I will teach you water release water prison jutsu. This ninjutsu can complement the two ninjutsu you already know. Uehara Soma remembered. During Kakashi and Zabuza's confrontation, Zabuza used this ninjutsu to cause quite a bit of trouble for Kakashi. If it weren't for Naruto's outburst, Kakashi would likely have suffered a major setback. To have such an effect on an elite jonin, even though water prison jutsu is only a C-rank ninjutsu in terms of rating, it is enough to prove the value of this ninjutsu. Alright, Jozo-senpai. Watch closely. Biwa Jozo first explained the details of water prison jutsu to Uehara Soma, then proceeded with a demonstration. He deliberately slowed down the hand seals. Water release, water prison jutsu. A spherical water prison appeared in front of Biwa Jozo. The water flowed, capable of trapping objects within the water prison. Soma, now you try. Yes. Uehara Soma nodded. He closed his eyes first, recalling what Biwa Jozo had just explained and the hand seals Biwa Jozo had used. Shortly after, he opened his eyes and formed the same hand seals as Biwa Jozo. Water release, water prison jutsu. In the next moment, a water sphere identical to the one in front of Biwa Jozo appeared. Uehara Soma raised an eyebrow slightly. Learned in one go? Have I reached this level too? Like Uchiha Itachi. However, I'm already 15 years old now, while Uchiha Itachi was only a few years old at the time. Biwa Jozo showed a surprised expression. Soma, you really surprised me. Chapter 17, Soma wants all. I'm increasingly inclined to persuade you to switch to being a water release ninja. Just after one look, one explanation from me, and he can execute water prison jutsu with such high proficiency. With such talent, not being a water release ninja is truly a waste. But then again, you can forge a ninjato like Kirito. Uehara Soma smiled. As a blacksmith, Uehara Soma won't give up his identity. The existence of the system is Uehara Soma's true confidence. However, Uehara Soma won't give up on water release either. Only children make choices, of course, he wants them all. But Biwa Jozo definitely doesn't think this way. Otherwise, he wouldn't say such things. Biwa Jozo's mindset should be to specialize in a certain direction. This is the mindset of most ninjas in this world. A ninja, if truly dedicated, can learn many ninjutsu. However, most ninjas don't learn much. Because when a ninja truly fights, they rely on the few ninjutsu they excel at. Specialization makes one stronger. A person's energy is limited. Wanting to excel at everything often leads to excelling at nothing. But Uehara Soma's situation is different. Uehara Soma has a system. The next day, Hoshigaki Kisame and Zabuza arrived early at the Mizukage's building. Mizukage-sama. You're here, please have a seat. Third Mizukage pointed to the chairs in front. The reason I called you here this time is because there is a very important task I need to entrust to you. I believe you are already aware of the disastrous defeat of the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist on the battlefield. This has caused significant losses to our hidden mist village. It's not just a single defeat. More importantly, it has caused the people in the village to lose confidence. I need you to help regain that confidence for the village. Currently, our hidden mist village is indeed at a great disadvantage. The current ninjas are not a match for Konoha's ninjas. But at least we need to give the future some hope. If we can't even do that, then our hidden mist village will be plunged into darkness for decades to come. We will face our worst era. Therefore, I need you to defeat the geniuses of Konoha. You are the geniuses of my hidden mist village. If you can defeat Konoha's geniuses, the people in the village will feel that we have a future, that we can become the village's light. Immediately, Hoshigaki Kisame and Zabuza became excited. For young ninjas, how could such a mission with a sense of purpose not be exhilarating? Mizukage-sama, what should we do? Hoshigaki Kisame asked eagerly. Not only because of the sense of duty of this task, but also because Hoshigaki Kisame had just obtained Kiryu and was eager to demonstrate its power. Konoha has several outstanding geniuses. One is Kakashi, the disciple of the Yellow Flash. The other is Sarutobi Asuma, the son of the third Hokage. In the future, the two of them are likely to become the strongest ninjas of Konoha. I need you to defeat them. Kisame, Zabuza, do you both have confidence? Hoshigaki Kisame straightened his chest. Mizukage-sama, please rest assured, I won't lose to anyone. Zabuza stood up. Mizukage-sama, me too. Third Mizukage nodded. Good, no time to waste, you two leave now. I'll have ANBU ninjas pass on information about Kakashi and Asuma to you, creating opportunities for you to engage in battle. Yes, Mizukage-sama. With lightning speed, the two left Hidden Mist Village. On the other side, at Forging Island. Biwajozo looked at Uehara Soma. Soma, today I'll teach you two more ninjutsu, Water Release Water Dragon Bullet Jutsu and Water Release Water Fang Bullet Jutsu. Both are offensive ninjutsu. Once you've mastered these two ninjutsu, you'll basically be considered an eligible water release ninja, with capabilities in attack, defense, control, and concealment. Next, there's no need to rush into learning new ninjutsu. Instead, it's necessary to spend time and energy practicing and mastering these few ninjutsu thoroughly. Only then can you truly unleash them in combat. As with yesterday, Biwajozo first explained the details of the two ninjutsu, then slowed down the hand seals and demonstrated them to Uehara Soma. Soma, give it a try. Yes. Both of these are B-rank ninjutsu, with a slightly higher difficulty level. Additionally, they require a higher amount of chakra. However, Biwajozo could see that Uehara Soma's fundamental attributes were already at the level of a chunin. So, there shouldn't be any major issues. Moreover, Uehara Soma has a natural talent for water release. His talent in water release was excellent, not only indicating the ability to learn water release ninjutsu faster, but also consuming less chakra when using water release compared to ninjas with poorer talent. There is a problem of conversion efficiency within this. Uehara Soma's first attempt ended in failure, leaving him somewhat disappointed. He had hoped to master it right away this time. It seems that an excellent level talent in water release is not the limit in this world. However, he wasn't too disheartened because Uehara Soma had already found the feeling. This meant that with a few more attempts, Uehara Soma could learn it. Moreover, Uehara Soma knew that having an excellent level talent in water release was just the beginning for him. This reward was obtained through the contract with Kiryu and Hoshigaki Kisame. The reward is related to the contractor of the ninjato, meaning quite simply that this excellent level talent in water release was likely copied from Hoshigaki Kisame by the system. Then in the future, when contracting with other ninjato, he can also obtain similar rewards. Fire release talent, lightning release talent, earth release talent, wind release talent. It might even go beyond excellent level. Don't be discouraged, you're already doing great. Jozo-senpai, don't worry, I'm not. Uehara Soma continued to try. Second time, third time. Finally, on Uehara Soma's sixth attempt at forming hand seals, the water above the sea transformed into the shape of a dragon and fiercely rushed towards the nearby rocks. Ferocious, menacing. Boom. Under the impact of the water dragon, the huge rock shattered. Not far away, Arafune looked at Uehara Soma, feeling very unfamiliar. Arafune didn't know much about Uehara Soma before, but knowing of his existence, Arafune had always thought that Uehara Soma was a similar, almost equivalent existence to himself. But now, Arafune realized just how wrong he was. Uehara Soma not only surpassed him by a large margin in forging technique, crafting a ninjato like Kiryu, which was on the level of the Hidden Mist 7 ninja swords, but also gained recognition from the Mizukage. In terms of water release, he was equally formidable. In comparison, Arafune felt inadequate in every aspect. Is the gap between people really this vast? Previously, Arafune considered himself relatively decent among his peers. But now, Arafune was deeply engulfed in self-doubt. 10 days later, Uehara Soma produced the thug recruitment token. Chapter 18, Worse Than That Konoha Genin. Senpai Jozo, this is the contract of the Forging Master Spiritual Land. If you agree to this contract, I can summon you out in the Forging Master Spiritual Land. Biwajozo took it and agreed directly. A bright light flashed on the recruitment order. Then, the color of the recruitment order changed slightly. This means that Biwa Jozo has become Uehara Soma's enforcer. Senpai Jozo, are you ready? Yes. With a thought from Uehara Soma. Dungeon instance opening. Opening successful. Transferring. Uehara Soma opened his eyes to a forest, steep terrain. This should be somewhere in the mountains. Summon enforcer. In Uehara Soma's sight, two options appeared. One was Hoshigaki Kisame, the other was Biwa Jozo. Uehara Soma raised an eyebrow slightly. Now Kisame is on a mission, heading to the battlefield, already out of the Land of Water's range, and yet can still be summoned as an enforcer from such a distance. Uehara Soma immediately thought of a new way to use the ability to summon enforcers. That is, when an enforcer encounters a life-threatening situation, using the ability to summon enforcers, one can directly summon the enforcer into the dungeon instance. I wonder where the enforcers will appear when they leave the dungeon instance. Uehara Soma chose Biwa Jozo. Biwa Jozo felt a pull, landing on himself, not resisting. The next moment, Biwa Jozo's figure appeared beside Uehara Soma. Soma, is this the Forging Master spiritual land? Yes. A figure approached them. With golden short hair, wearing armor, a man resembling a medieval knight, with a somewhat youthful face but determined eyes. A voice sounded in Uehara Soma's mind. Instance mission, Yujo's regret. Mission reward, materials for the blue rose sword. Do you accept the mission? Biwa Jozo's gaze fell on the young man. Accept. Uehara Soma looked at Biwa Jozo and said, Senpai Jozo, this is our client. Biwa Jozo nodded. Immediately, a scene appeared in front of Uehara Soma and Biwa Jozo. Three figures set off to the end of the mountains for exploration. Upon returning, the girl, in order to save a fallen knight, touched the taboo of the church. Subsequently, she was taken away by an integrity knight dispatched by the church, and her fate became unknown. This caused great self-blame in the young man. This was the eternal regret in the young man's heart. Later, the young man learned that the girl, under the brainwashing of the church, also became an integrity knight after being taken away. The young man then understood the truth about the integrity knights. The scene vanished. I want you to help me stop the integrity knights and prevent Alice from being taken away by the integrity knights. Okay. The figure of the young man disappeared. Not far away, the figure of a young girl entered the sight of the two. Immediately after, the sound of armor movement echoed. Uehara Soma and Biwa Jozo immediately looked over. Jozo senpai, they're here. Biwa Jozo nodded, his expression becoming serious. Soon, two fully armored figures appeared. Soma, you take the target and go first. I'll stop them. Our mission is just to ensure the target isn't taken away. There's no need to engage them head-on. Understood. As ninjas, the fundamental goal of carrying out missions is to earn money. It's a job. Therefore, they do as much as they are paid for. This is the viewpoint of the majority of ninjas. Because missions are very dangerous, completing them is already quite difficult. Hence, the mortality rate among ninjas has always been high. Doing extra things will only make it more dangerous. The sudden appearance of the integrity knights startled Alice. However, before Alice could react, Uehara Soma had already stepped forward beside her. Grabbing Alice's hand, he led her away from the integrity knights. I'm a friend of Yujo's. Uehara Soma casually fabricated an identity for himself. Alice was taken aback. As Uehara Soma pulled her along, she looked at him, feeling strange that her close friend had a friend she had never seen before. But in the current situation, Alice had no room for doubt. She could sense that the integrity knights were after her. And Uehara Soma was here to rescue her. Biwa Jozo stood in front of the integrity knights, lifting the executioner's blade. Your opponent is me. The two integrity knights exchanged glances. They were somewhat surprised by the sudden appearance of Biwa Jozo. However, their mission was to bring Alice back, and no one could stop them. Kill him. One knight brandished a great sword and charged at Biwa Jozo. Biwa Jozo swung the executioner's blade. Ding! Their weapons clashed. Biwa Jozo felt the recoil force in his arm and grinned. Is that all you've got? Compared to that Konoha Genin, you're far inferior. Another integrity knight approached Biwa Jozo from the side. Just as this Integrity Knight thought that Biwajozo was being held back by their companion and couldn't resist or dodge their attack, Biwajozo suddenly performed one-handed seals. Water Release, Water Fang Blade Jutsu. A mass of water took the form of sharp blades in Biwajozo's hand. The pupils of the Integrity Knight contracted. Biwajozo faced two opponents alone, easily handling the two Integrity Knights. However, what Biwajozo didn't know was that there weren't just two Integrity Knights, but three. The other Integrity Knight, upon seeing his two companions being held back by Biwajozo, didn't come over. Instead, he chased after Uehara Soma and Alice. Uehara Soma heard the approaching footsteps. Water Release, Hiding in Mist Jutsu. A large amount of water mist suddenly spread out, enveloping the nearby area. These mists partially obscured the vision of the Integrity Knight. But Uehara Soma knew that it wouldn't stop the Integrity Knight for long. Alice, let's go faster. Uehara Soma tightened his grip on Alice's hand. Suddenly, Alice stumbled over a stone, her body faltering, about to fall forward uncontrollably. Uehara Soma reacted quickly and caught Alice before she fell. Hold on tight to me. Alice quickly wrapped her arms around Uehara Soma's neck. Uehara Soma condensed chakra in his legs, increasing his speed. Feeling the bumps in Uehara Soma's embrace, Alice looked up at his face. Not sure what she was thinking, her face gradually turned red, and a faint heat emanated from her head. Chapter 19, Soma's Fight. The figure of the Integrity Knight burst out from the water mist. At this moment, Uehara Soma had already run far away while holding Alice. The face of the Integrity Knight sank. Tricky tactics, but weak strength. You really think you can get away? Anyone who dares to obstruct the actions of the church must be punished. An unusual force surged from the Integrity Knight, and in the next moment, the Integrity Knight's speed sharply increased. Uehara Soma glanced back, his eyes flashing. Water Clone Jutsu. A figure identical to Uehara Soma appeared. The water clone continued forward with Alice. Meanwhile, Uehara Soma stopped and blocked the path in front of the Integrity Knight. Water Release, Water Mist Jutsu. Uehara Soma once again used the Water Mist Jutsu, obstructing the Integrity Knight's vision. With the distraction, the water clone could take Alice to a position far enough away that the Integrity Knight couldn't catch up. Next, Uehara Soma only needed to buy time. Using the same trick again? It's useless. The Integrity Knight snorted coldly. Raising the sword in hand, power gathered in the arm, then fiercely swung forward. A tremendous force erupted in an instant. A shockwave suddenly appeared. The mist was forcibly split in half. Uehara Soma swiftly changed direction, running opposite to the water clone. Furthermore, there was another water clone of Uehara Soma ahead. The Integrity Knight had no doubts. Upon confirming two figures ahead, he didn't suspect Alice wasn't among them. You can't escape. The Integrity Knight's strength was clearly greater than Uehara Soma's. Even though Uehara Soma had undergone Biwajozo's special training, he had learned 3 new water release ninjutsu. Water Release, Water Prison Jutsu. A massive water sphere appeared, trapping the Integrity Knight inside. But the time it held him wasn't long. The Integrity Knight was getting closer and closer to Uehara Soma. Bang! With an intense metal collision sound, Biwajozo withdrew the executioner's blade. The head of an Integrity Knight rolled to the ground, eyes wide with an expression of disbelief. Biwajozo glanced at the executioner's blade in his hand. It had many gaps after the intense battle. The whole sword seemed precarious, as if it could break at any moment. The executioner's blade is indeed lacking. Previously, as one of the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist, the Hidden Mist 7 ninja swords held a sacred place in Biwajozo's heart. However, after suffering a crushing defeat against Might-Do, and upon hearing Uehara Soma's information about the Forging Master's spiritual land, Biwajozo realized something. That great blacksmith of the past could have forged many more and better ninjato, but due to selfishness, they limited the number of Hidden Mist 7 ninja swords to 7. Biwajozo's attitude towards the Hidden Mist 7 ninja swords changed. The sense of sanctity the Hidden Mist 7 ninja swords held in Biwajozo's heart disappeared. Biwajozo thrust the executioner's blade into the body of the Integrity Knight. A suction force descended, and the blood on the body was absorbed by the executioner's blade. The blade of the executioner's blade slowly underwent regeneration. Merely able to absorb blood for regeneration. This ability, in fact, has little significance. Kirito, forged by Soma, possesses the ability of unhealable, which is much more useful than the effect of the executioner's blade. If I had Kirito instead of the executioner's blade, these two would have been defeated long ago. Biwajozo looked in the direction Uehara Soma had left. I wonder how things are going on Soma's end. As soon as the executioner's blade finished its regeneration, Biwajozo immediately chased after Uehara Soma in the direction he had left. At this moment, the Integrity Knight had caught up with Uehara Soma. You brat, where have you hidden that girl? Speak up, and I may spare your life. The Integrity Knight's voice was stern. Having confirmed 2 figures ahead, the Integrity Knight pursued without hesitation. But upon catching up, he realized that the other figure wasn't Alice but rather Uehara Soma's clone. This infuriated the Integrity Knight to the extreme. The Integrity Knight felt manipulated by Uehara Soma. But more importantly, the mission was incomplete, the target lost. Upon returning to the church, he would face punishment. This was something the Integrity Knight absolutely could not accept. In response to the Integrity Knight was one of Uehara Soma's ninjutsu. Water Release, Water Dragon Bullet Jutsu. A large volume of water converged from all directions, under Uehara Soma's chakra, taking the shape of a water dragon, fiercely rushing towards the Integrity Knight. The Integrity Knight snorted coldly. Ignorant. With a sword swing, he met the water dragon head-on. Boom! A huge collision resounded. The water dragon was cleaved in half, but the Integrity Knight also took a few steps back. Uehara Soma's eyes lit up. The water release ninjutsu I just used seems to have become more powerful than before. Does this mean I've improved? Is this the talent of an excellent level water release? Progress in the midst of battle. Compared to my previous training, the progress seems to be faster. This sudden realization led Uehara Soma, who had originally planned to use water clone jutsu again to distract the Integrity Knight and buy time, to suddenly entertain another idea. Uehara Soma gazed intensely at the Integrity Knight opposite him. Let's go again. Uehara Soma formed seals once more. Water Release, Water Fang Bullet Jutsu. Unlike the Water Dragon Bullet Jutsu, the Water Fang Bullet Jutsu creates long spears formed from multiple converging streams of water, which are thrown at the opponent. While the individual power of the Water Fang Bullet is not as great as the Water Dragon Bullet, its advantage lies in its quantity. Spear after spear of water release was thrown towards the Integrity Knight. The Integrity Knight's strength indeed surpassed Uehara Soma by a fair margin. However, faced with such an attack from Uehara Soma, it couldn't be completely ignored. Instead, the Integrity Knight needed to block and evade. For a moment, the situation became deadlocked. Uehara Soma's strength was insufficient, but his foundation was solid, and he could unleash power beyond his normal capabilities without considering exhaustion. The Integrity Knight also noticed this. Therefore, he didn't rush. Instead, he planned to wait until Uehara Soma was almost exhausted before striking with a fatal blow. The Integrity Knight didn't believe that Uehara Soma could escape from his grasp. But what the Integrity Knight didn't know was that Uehara Soma had his own confidence for making such a choice. Calculating the time, it should be about right. A voice echoed in Uehara Soma's mind. Congratulations, host, on completing the mission. Would you like to leave the dungeon instance? Chapter 20, Kaguya Clan. Uehara Soma flashed a smile. Thanks for the sparring, see you. The Integrity Knight felt a pang of unease. Sure enough, in the next moment, right before the Integrity Knight's eyes, Uehara Soma's figure disappeared in a very peculiar way, just like that, vanished into thin air. There's no trace at all. It's as if it never appeared before. The words before Uehara Soma disappeared made the Integrity Knight feel thoroughly mocked. You little devil! Uehara Soma returned to Forging Island. Biwajozo's figure appeared next to Uehara Soma. And in front of Uehara Soma were the materials for forging the blue rose sword. Soma, are these the materials for crafting the ninjato? Uehara Soma nodded. Jozo-senpai, thank you. You're welcome. Seeing Uehara Soma carrying the materials towards the forging room, Biwajozo couldn't help but ask. Are you going to start forging now, Soma? Not yet. Uehara Soma shook his head. I'll prepare first. Once I'm confident, I'll begin the forging process formally. After all, these materials are the only ones we have. If I fail, there won't be a second chance, so I must ensure success. Arafuni followed along. Chief Uehara, is there anything I can do? Uehara Soma delegated some preparatory tasks to Arafune. Next, Uehara Soma took out the blueprint for the blue rose sword, analyzing, recording, deducing the contents, and then began to experiment. Similar to when he forged Kirito last time, he first rehearsed using other materials. Soon, Uehara Soma immersed himself in the process. Arafune could clearly see that Uehara Soma's forging technique far surpassed his own by a significant margin. No wonder he's capable of crafting at the level of the Hidden Mist 7 ninja swords. When it comes to forging, Chief Uehara is a genius. I'm far from it. No, even my sensei isn't on his level. 3 days later, Uehara Soma emerged from the forging room and fell asleep immediately. The next day, early in the morning, Uehara Soma returned to the forging room. Jozo-senpai, I'm going to start forging officially now. I can't be disturbed from now on. Biwajozo nodded. Soma, rest assured, as long as I'm here, no one can disturb you. I promise, even if Mizukage-sama comes in person, I'll stop him. Then I'll rely on you, Jozo-senpai. Arafune looked at the door of the forging room with a mix of reverence and envy. These past few days, even though Uehara Soma hadn't officially started forging the blue rose sword, Arafune had witnessed firsthand Uehara Soma's processing of various materials. Uehara Soma's skill completely impressed Arafune. Before, Arafune believed in Third Mizukage's judgment, but after all, he hadn't seen it with his own eyes. Therefore, Arafune still had a hint of doubt in his heart. But now, after seeing it with his own eyes, Arafune had no doubt at all. When will I be able to reach Chief Uehara's level of forging technique? Biwajozo stood guard at the entrance of the forging room, executioner's blade planted beside him. I wonder what kind of ninjato Soma will forge this time. At Kagaya clan's residence, a middle-aged man slammed his cup onto the ground. What does this Mizukage mean? We agreed to shut down Forging Island, so why are they not doing it now? Across from him sat an elderly man, the current head of the Kagaya clan. Hikari, calm down. Kagaya Hikari looked at the old man. Clan head, how can I calm down? We agreed that once Forging Island is vacated, it will be handed over to us, the Kagaya clan. Forging Island is very useful to us. But now, the Mizukage is reneging on his word. He shouldn't forget that his ability to inherit the position of Mizukage relies entirely on the support of our Kagaya clan. The old man picked up his teacup and took a sip. According to the message from the Mizukage side, a young forger from Forging Island suddenly forged a ninjato of the Hidden Mist 7 ninja swords level, hence why the Mizukage halted the shutdown of Forging Island. Kagaya Hikari snorted. Do you believe that, clan head? I certainly don't. Is a ninjato of the Hidden Mist 7 ninja swords level so easy to forge? If it were that easy, we wouldn't have only those 7 ninjato after all these years. We all know what kind of people those forgers on Forging Island are. They're just a bunch of swindlers cheating resources from the villages. The older forgers can't even do it, how could the younger ones? The old man hesitated for a moment, saying, the Mizukage wouldn't spread such news without reason. Hikari, I know you're in a hurry, but don't rush just yet. We can send someone to Forging Island to investigate. Kagaya Hikari immediately got up. Clan head, then I'll go. The old man was about to speak up to stop him, but Kagaya Hikari had already rushed out. The old man could only relent. Soon, Kagaya Hikari arrived near Forging Island. 2 figures followed behind Kagaya Hikari. They were both Kagaya Hikari's clansmen and his subordinates. Biwajozo, at the first moment, sensed the newcomer's presence. He stood up quickly, and at the same time, his hand reached for the handle of executioner's blade, his eyes alert as he watched ahead. The 3 approached. At the sight of Biwajozo, Kagaya Hikari was slightly surprised. Kagaya Hikari. Biwajozo, what are you doing here? I am tasked by Mizukage-sama to serve as part of the Forging Island security team. Kagaya Hikari, what brings you here? Biwajozo became even more wary upon seeing Kagaya Hikari. Because Biwajozo knows about the Kagaya clan. If one were to talk about the representation of hostility among the major ninja villages, then the Kagaya clan represents the hostility within the Hidden Mist village. The members of this ninja clan are quite aggressive. Biwajozo could sense that Kagaya Hikari seemed to be looking for trouble. You? A guard for the forgers? By direct order of Mizukage-sama. Kagaya Hikari's eyes flickered for a moment. This made Kagaya Hikari somewhat uncertain. One of the distinguished members of the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist serving as a guard on Forging Island? Could it be that the matter about the ninjato is true? Yes. And what about that young forger? Where is he? I heard he forged a ninjato of the Hidden Mist 7 ninja swords level. I'm very interested. Bring him out, let me see. Soma is currently forging, and no one can disturb him. Kagaya Hikari suddenly laughed. Isn't this a bit too coincidental?
Thanks for listening.